going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of For the People podcast. Of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. Today, I have for you a very special guest. A lot of y'all have been bugging me regularly to talk more about Brazil. And so today, in an effort to talk more about Brazil, I'm bringing on a very special guest. He is a rapper, or rather an artist altogether. He raps, writes, does a little bit of singing on the side. He's a teacher, he's an activist, and he also lives here in Brazil as a Black American. So he's somebody that I actually met through Instagram because I was like, oh shit, there's another Black person that speaks Portuguese that's American. Real talk. That's I was like, yo, that's crazy. He rapping as well. So we connected. He's gracious enough to come on. Everybody, I want y'all to meet Jordan, or AKA BiXop, Fields-Bakersville, not Bakersville.
It's Baskerville.
Baskerville. There you go.
Yeah.
Oops, I messed that up. But yeah, there you go. What's going on, man? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here. I'm physically in my house, but I'm here on your program.
There you go. You like many people have somewhat of an interesting background and story as to how you lived in the US, had a very unique experience in the US that ultimately led you to Brazil. So really quick, can you let people know, first of all, what it is that you do, and then give a little bit of background to your story?
Okay, well, what I do is, as far as my career, right now, I am an English teacher. I've been an English teacher since the moment I came out here. This is how I, sustain myself or whatever. But I've always done music. I've been doing music since the late 90s, since I was a little boy, specifically hip hop. And so I just found a way to merge the two. I learned Portuguese through hip hop, Brazilian hip hop, translating the lyrics out there. It really impacted me, the lyrics of Brazilian hip hop. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we continue. But I use the fact that I learned this language through music to try to use music and certain other relatability factors so that people could learn English, because people who learn English in Brazil, they have a 60% chance of getting a better job at a multinational company or even in a Brazilian company. But knowing how to speak English, you have 60% chance of making a much higher salary than somebody that doesn't. And only 1% of Brazilians are really fluent. Maybe 2 nowadays, 5%, maybe 6 or 7 to 8. Maybe I'll give it 10.
And that fluent, sometimes they be saying they're fluent and you be like, yeah.
No, but that's the 1% that's really fluent. Maybe 2 nowadays. The ones that you're talking about, that's about 10% of the country that can hold the conversation, which means that, you got a country which is, I believe, the 5th largest population, 200, it's debatable. Some people say 209 to 220 million people within the country. So the population is still kind of debatable. And for reasons that we can also talk about further on. It's a big market as far as English teachers. And I'm not saying that for people to come out here and want to do that, because there's a certain margin of how much you can make. And I'm in a good margin because of how much I've absorbed the culture and because of the mentality of which I attack what I do, and with my English school of getting Brazilians to learn how to speak English through another thought process as I dissect their language and show how much more difficult it is really than English, because a lot of times people don't realize that.
Yeah,
so that's what it is.
Actually,
it's difficult.
It's up there. It's a hard language to learn because you, in my opinion, you have to have some type of experience attached to the learning process when you're learning Brazilian Portuguese, and it's hard to explain. But like,
you don't think that's with every language?
So when I was learning Korean, I learned how to speak a lot of it before I actually started taking classes. And I went to a Korean church, but I was like involved in the culture, but nowhere. I didn't have to be.
I'm sorry. Could you expand on the Korean church? I just find that interesting.
Oh yeah. So I went to Korean church for like 10 years. And yeah, it was random, bro. Like one of my friends, one of my childhood friends went there. He was half Chinese. We never knew that his mom was actually Korean. His dad bowled with my mom. and his dad was Chinese. And then like one day we were out at the park playing soccer because I played for my high school, and his church had a soccer league or was part of a soccer league, and they asked us to play because there was technically
What's
no
the
rules.
denomination?
Presbyterian.
Oh, it's Presbyterian. Okay.
Yeah, Christian Presbyterian. So the largest Christian church for a long time, I think it still is in Korea. So which I didn't know, so I started going to church there.
Really?
Yeah,
like the biggest,
I know, that's what I said.
like physically largest one.
The physically largest, like the most people go to. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, so it's a big deal. They're super Christian. So, I went there to play soccer, and we just kind of like fell in love with the church, and we ended up staying there. Like we even after we stopped playing, after I graduated and was still in Fayetteville, I just kept going, and I was actually known as like this kid, this black kid from the hood who spoke and hung out with Koreans. Like it was a whole thing. and so the older people at the church, especially the women, like they could communicate more or less if they had to in English, but like because of how the culture is structured, like they're not about to be speaking English at church, like because that's their comfort zone where they're supposed to be respected. You know how that's just how their society is. And so like if I wanted to eat, man, like I'm so serious because they ate every Sunday. The food was bomb. But like even something as simple as eating, like I had to be able to speak Korean because they'll ask me if I wanted something.
They make fried chicken quite well as well.
Yeah, they do. Boy, they love it. Boy, Koreans love some chicken, dog.
I heard it was something about the war, like the black soldiers kind of taught them. I don't know if it's true. Taught them how to make
so yeah, okay. So Koreans are actually like a slave people. They were enslaved by the Chinese and the Japanese. That's what their features. Like I could tell if somebody's Korean, like full-blooded Korean. Like I can differentiate between like a Korean and a Japanese person, a Korean and a Chinese person, because their features are actually like a healthy mix of both. And their language is actually easier to learn because it was meant to be taught and spoken by slaves. Like "Annyeong haseo" literally means like "Did you survive the night?" basically, but that's like the way they say hello. It's actually a question. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was like I was part of the culture, but like I didn't actually have to be immersed in it as much as I thought I would to learn it. But like with Portuguese, like you can think that you are learning, or at least enough to understand. And like, yeah, you might be able to order some food, or at least Brazilian Portuguese. Like you might be able to order some food, but then like when you actually sit down and are in a room full of Brazilians that are conversing, you learn really fast. Like there's a difference between speaking Portuguese and speaking Portuguese and understanding it for real.
No, I guarantee you that's how all of my students feel when like a lot of times I have not nights, but we'll have a barbecue, right? And what me and my wife will do is we'll invite some of the Americans that we know, just around here that live in Sao Paulo, and even some people that might be visiting while at the time we're having a barbecue, and some Brazilians, a lot of times students that I have that are learning English, and everybody's together, and you can see that they don't take advantage of it because they kind of get nervous because when we get together and we start speaking English in our way, they're like, oh, I don't even understand what they're saying. I'm not going to get involved in that. And I try to always be the person that's bringing people together. But one thing that you probably have realized is taxing mentally.
It is. Man, people don't talk about that enough. Bro, being the translator, like when my mom came to visit for the first time, I didn't think that it would be like that big of a deal. I'm like, oh, I'm just translate for her. Like it's not a big deal. But I forgot, like, because I'm with my wife and kids all the time, and I'm not around other Americans almost ever. And really, the only time I speak English at that point is like outside of text messaging is whenever I'm doing my show. So like, I was my wife would say something, and then instead of saying what I wanted to say in English to my mom, I would just repeat what my wife said in Portuguese accidentally. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh," and then I would say it in English, or my mom would say something in English, and I would just repeat it back in English to my wife. Like, it was like
it's hard. People don't realize it, and that's why a lot of times when people come visit, they don't realize, like, yeah, you got to pay me for this shit. Like they think, oh, I'm here. I'm like, man, this shit ain't easy. Like, I really like made a lot of money doing this before the pandemic. Since pandemic with AI and stuff like that, I haven't really been doing gigs as an interpreter. But like when you do interpret gigs, that you do it in a team. I'm sure you've seen this. People, they take turns because your mind will explode. Like you'll go
Yeah.
crazy, and like it depends on accents and pronunciation. I was in Rio de Janeiro doing a job, and it was heavy. Like I'm like in. There were mothers that had lost their children to police violence. I'm trying to not cry and and interpret, but it like I cried. I started crying in front of everybody because I'm like, her story. And these are all these people
Crazy.
coming from Rutgers University and different universities throughout the United States. Even Cornell was there, and like I want them to get a good experience. They paid a lot of money. I don't know if it's out of their pocket or university funds. I don't know, but a lot of money was allocated for this thing to happen. And so I'm trying to do the best I can, but I'm not from Rio de Janeiro. The words that y'all, but the words, you know what I mean, that they
Carioca's
use out there,
different.
it's completely different. And I think it would be easier for you. No, Sao Paulo got a lot of slang, but I just feel like Sao Paulo Portuguese is clearer to me. And I guess
Oh
that's
no, for
because
sure. São Paulo, so I make fun of Paulistas because they be singing like they in a Disney movie sometimes, especially like the upper middle class. Bro,
really,
it be hilarious. I was like I remember when I was visiting. Bom dia, tudo bem? What? Por que ele tá cantando assim? Or like, why is she singing like that? Like, and my friend was like, oh no, everybody talks like that. I was like, everybody be singing? Like, yeah, it's much clearer. But like in Rio, they talk fast as hell, or they talk loud as hell and like unclear, or they like
not
use
really clear.
slang, like just straight slang. Or like I mean, or they do a combination of all three.
It's
And
definitely a more aggressive type of Portuguese, right?
for sure. No,
It
for
sounds a
sure.
lot more aggressive.
I mean, it's like I guess it would be like the equivalent of somebody from like South Florida, like maybe somebody from like the hood of South Florida. Kind of like how the best example I could think of is how Antonio Brown speaks. Something similar to that, right?
Okay.
Or like Geechee almost, like to the point where it's like almost not even the same type of Portuguese. And but even though it's unique for Rio, it's not actually unique in Brazil, and people don't know. Like there are Brazilians from like Rio. Like like I said, my wife is Maranhense, so there are people from Rio. If they try to talk to somebody from Maranhão, they can't understand shit they're saying to each other.
It's difficult too. That's also difficult. Northeast to understand certain people. In my opinion, it just depends on like who you talk to too, because it's a level of, I would guess, education and life experience that makes people speak a little bit more clear than other people in regardless of the area that they live.
I got a question for you. So have you found it difficult at times? Because I know, like you said, you're like the type of person that likes to bring people together, and I'm the same way. And so the thing that I found difficult is the education gap, right? Because I have friends that live in the favelas, and I have friends that are upper middle class, like lawyers, even friends that have a lot of money. And like I realized when like I would like do a barbecue or whatever, they kind of like don't necessarily interact with one another. And like, so it's hard to know, like when I'm about to go out or do an outing or do a barbecue, it's like, I don't know if I should invite this person out together. You know what I'm saying? Like how it'll be, et cetera, et cetera. Have you felt like the education gap has kind of made it a little bit difficult?
No, not really. I'm just going to be honest. Like I don't like the people that are those people, like the lawyers, and they're just my students. Like, well, we don't really hang out or anything like that. Most of the people that I hang out with is in the periferia, the outskirts, and they're all people from the underprivileged areas and communities. And even if they have education, they don't have that gap because they came from that too, so they don't have that whole thing. I don't really like hang with people who didn't come from that, because there's certain conversations and things that even me, as living in this for like, I'm not saying that I live in squalor, because I don't, but I mean, I live in Capão Redondo, and I've lived here for the 9 years that I've been in here in Brazil. And that name for Brazilians, it's an area, it's a neighborhood. I think it's ridiculous, because I think it's like nowhere near as bad as people think it is. Every time I tell Brazilians that I live there, they're like, "Why would you live there? Oh my God, it's so dangerous." And I'm like, "No, it's not. No, it's not."
Yeah, a lot of people, but it's like that in the U.S. too, where people just exaggerate like how bad a neighborhood might be. It's like, mind your business, and you straight.
I will say that. I will say it used to be like that, though. It did. It used to be like bodies on every corner, every day type thing. Like, it was literally the worst area as far as murder in the world that wasn't in war at the time. And this was until the early 2000s.
Damn,
And what happened was I
it's
don't
like
want to like,
Chicago in the early 2000s.
but
So it
worse,
sound like.
but definitely worse. Even worse than that. Like it's bad out there, but we talking like constant war. Like, you know what I mean? And so a lot of
Damn.
people died, like thousands of people, would die.
What?
Yeah, man, it's
That's crazy. That's weird. I've never heard of that city until you.
it's not a city, it's a neighborhood in
I
Sao
mean,
Paulo.
well, the by, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, but it's popular because of rap music. You've heard of
Okay.
Hacian Ice MCs?
Say
Hacian Ice
again?
MCs. Have you heard of Hacian Ice MCs?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so two of them are from here. The
Oh,
most popular one, Mano Brown, he's from here. I met him a couple times. He's like right down the street. Like he's always out here still. You know what I mean? So
that's dope. So he
he
always out there giving back and interacting with the community still?
yeah, and a couple other artists. Like this is a neighborhood. I moved here because of that. Like this is a neighborhood that even though like it has its problems or whatever, like there's a lot of creative people. It's geniuses that come from here, man. And that's the crazy thing. Like I feel like in Brazil, like if everybody had opportunity, this would be like hands down the best country because I see people who they just need opportunity. They got everything they need. They got the drive. I don't know about other places, so I can't really compare Sao Paulo to the rest of Brazil
Oh,
because I
Sao
can't do that.
Paulo,
Yeah.
Sao Paulo, bro, it reminds me of New York. Like you being from Jersey, you know how like you see people that got drive, bro. Like, I was talking the other day on my show. I was like, bro, some of these drug dealers, bro, y'all be thinking black people be lazy. I'm like, bro, you ain't never met a drug dealer from New York or like, but you waking up at 5 a.m. and you on a corner until midnight
Mm,
getting money all
mm,
day. Like your phone is never on vibrate. It's always on ring. You never stop working. Like there are
mm,
people who got drive like that in Brazil. Like Brazilians are like there's some. I'm not gonna say they're not lazy Brazilians. There are, but the majority of them, bro, they be
mhm.
they be making me tired the way they be
But
working.
but I'll be hearing a lot of other expats that be complaining about other cities or whatever. But it's never been my experience. I just living in Sao Paulo. I just see people that get it. Like every worker usually wakes up at 5 in the morning. They get on the train, on a
Mhm.
bus that takes them to a train, and then that's a 2-hour period. Many times, I used to do it. That's why I'm happy that I came here. All right, so let's go back because I've been talking a lot about a lot. But I think one of the things is people want to hear about Brazil because they want to have the experience of actually coming here and doing what you did. Is that why people been asking you to talk about
I
Brazil?
think that a lot of people they hear the experience that I've had. They
Mm,
also may have had similar experiences in the U.S. Right where maybe you don't feel like eles não estão encaixados. And
mm,
they're not really fitting in, or they feel like their lives are lacking something that
mhm.
when they visit Brazil for the first time or they hear other people's experiences visiting Brazil, they're like, yo, that sounds like somewhere I need to be. And
It does,
especially
yeah,
black people.
yeah.
I didn't know like there's this whole like this is a generation of older black men, like maybe a
Mhm,
generation or two ahead of us that have been
mhm,
coming here for decades
yeah.
because of like they feel comfortable. Like I mean, and they don't even speak Portuguese. But they still been coming since before translators were a thing, which is even crazier to me.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they're very healthcare. They not saying that the healthcare system is perfect, but like you've lived the healthcare system of the U.S. It can't get really much worse than that, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you
bad.
lucky if you, I mean, you got a healthcare system that is imperfect and one that literally actively is trying to kill you at times. It seems like so that's the
With
comparison.
combined with the food, with how the food works, where it's got all this poison in it at the same time that it costs an arm and a leg to fix whatever problem that shit is causing. Yeah, that's a
Exactly.
conspiracy. They're trying to take us down. And here's
Exactly.
the thing, like, so for those people that hear these stories, so we're gonna kind of switch gears if I may,
Go ahead.
and talk about just experiences living here. Um, my experience living here is that of a poor Brazilian for years until now. Now I'm good. And I was like, yo, I
So
could
was
have
that by
gotten
choice? Was that by choice, or was it like just your situation? Like you were like, nah, I'm
my
just gonna make it work.
situation. I would never have chosen to, you know what I mean? But I made everything work though. It's not like I wasn't working. I'm like, gee, I wish somebody would come help me. No, I was doing it there, but I make money in this currency, you know what I mean? And based on
Mm.
hours worked, just giving English class. So first, when I first got here, I had saved about $4,000, maybe $5,000. Sounds like a lot in the conversion of today, Where today, this day that we are right now, yesterday, I haven't checked since yesterday. It was $1 was 5.43.
It's around the same thing today. 542.
Okay. So in that situation, when I first got here, $1 was 2.9.
Oh, you came right after they had that boom.
Yeah,
Like,
because there was a point where
right as the country was the same
broke.
as $1.
No, I didn't see that period. It was already starting to, because I came in 2016, the country broke. They suffered the coup.
Yeah.
Another coup from the States and we're going to talk about this real quick too. Like, so we got to understand something like I came here and that money wasn't enough. I thought it was, but I had to go back for some shit. And then I spent it, most of it. And so I'm like, all right, now I'm broke. I'm at zero. And I got a woman and I got, you know what I mean? So like I got working for a lady giving English classes, making like hardly nothing. And she was making half. And then I'm like, well, why am I doing this? So I'll just talk to her students. I'm like, well, what are you paying her? You know, because I'll pay less. And then I just took like 10 of her students, but I'm still waking up in the morning because I live far out in the periferia, which is the outskirts, the periphery. You know, Capon is the place I came when I moved here. And I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning with everybody, and I'm on a tight ass bus like this, not even able to breathe.
Boy, they don't know, dog.
You ain't felt that yet.
The only bus, boy, that's boy.
And when you breathe, you can feel your chest contracting. You're like, oh shit! Every time I breathe, it's like an anaconda is fucking hugging me. You know what I mean? So can I curse? Am I?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
So I'm doing that. So I'm on the bus. Then I get to the metro. And then people start running. They're very rude here in the morning, you know, like they throw bowls and shit, especially like an older woman, because you ain't gonna do nothing. She's like, because she wants that seat. She wants that seat because it's golden. You're gonna be on that train for a minute and then you gotta walk to the. So like, I felt the pain of how Brazilians are. I could see life for a Brazilian because like as I was going through that, I seen a lot of dudes visiting, talking about how cheap everything was. And I'm like, yo, this country is so cheap. It's like I can do this and that. And I'm like, damn, yo, you can say that to me or whatever. I got thick skin. I don't care. You ain't talking about. But when Brazilians hear that, they might not say it, but in their mind, they're like, man, fuck you. I'm struggling. I'm you know what I mean? You're talking about how easy shit is, and then you want to talk about how difficult things are for you in the States, and you
São Paulo, really, and São Paulo it's expensive regardless. Like even like it's cheaper for an American earning in dollars, but it's still expensive. Like
it's way cheaper than your city.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Sao Paulo is cheaper than Rio. When I went to Rio, and this is like, how much does it cost to ride on the metro in Rio?
Well, I've never taken the metro in Rio. I only take the Uber.
Oh man,
my wife refuses. My wife, she refuses to take the metro.
Okay, well, metro in Rio the last time
it
I
ain't
checked
cheap.
Like 7 and some change.
Yeah,
it's like it's 520 in Sao Paulo, and we complain about that. So from 7 something to 5 something, Sao Paulo is much cheaper when you talk about public transportation. When you talk about housing, when you talk about almost everything, Rio is more expensive. I saw cheaper beer when I was there. I'm like, oh shit, the beer is cheaper. True. That's not positive though.
But like, the homes are also cheaper here. Like that was one of the reasons that was actually one of the motivations that I had to move to Rio
buying
instead of
buying a house. You talking about apartments or houses?
No, like really houses or like they call them condos, but like either one.
Not close to the beach though, because that's what makes the real estate of Rio. They say the real estate of Rio is more expensive because you got the beach access, right?
No, I live in the interior, and so
you don't live in the city of Rio de Janeiro.
No, I live in the city, but I live in I don't live in the tourist areas. I live like 50 minutes away from Copacabana.
50.
Yeah, I don't. Hell, I did not want to live in that area, boy. That's too much traffic, too much tourism, too much. I would have never learned Portuguese, honestly.
That makes sense. So in your area, it's almost like me going to the beach. From where I live to the beach, it's like 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I said all that to say that when we move to a different place, you can be a type of person that's scared of everything and you don't want to put yourself in the lifestyle of what a real Brazilian person goes to. But all right, so then keep your thoughts to yourself. Don't talk about what Brazilians do and what they don't do if you've never felt what it's like to be one. I've felt it many times. Like, yo, and it's crazy because we have privilege. I recognize the privilege and I try to use it for good. I don't try to use it. I even didn't use the privilege once. I use it ever since then because it got brutal for me. But when I got, stopped by the cops and the motherfucker had the gun in my face and started kicking me, I could have said I was from the States, but I saw a whole bunch of other dudes that I always seen, and I never told them that I was from the States.
Really?
These are dudes that walk around with guns, killer type dudes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell these dudes where I'm from. Like, and so like when he was like kicking me and had the gun in my face and shit, almost pistol whipped me, I didn't say nothing.
Why did he stop you?
I treated like, huh?
Why did he stop you?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was in the wrong, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I just went to the drug spot, you know what I mean? But how they do it out here is
just a cop?
What do you mean?
Just a cop green?
It's a what?
Just a cop green?
Green?
Yeah.
Oh, like, you said just a cop green. Yeah.
And they was on your ass like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's illegal. You know what I mean? So I went.
And they just take that shit from you and then take whatever like cash you got on you to keep it a band.
Because there's different types of cops, yo. That's the thing. So the cops,
you got the military.
They got them, but then you got these paisano dudes, these undercover types, right? So he wasn't wearing. They weren't wearing a uniform, and my spidey senses was tingling, and I ignored them because normally I do it through the gate. He asked me to come into the gate. And I went there. He's like, "What you want?" I want this number of weed. And he's like, "Nah, you want this oitão." Oitão is a 38. That's how they call 38 out here, right? It's like a nickname, oitão, the big 8. And then it touched my nose. He was like, "I could blow your whole shit out right now." And then I'm like, "Damn!" Like, and I just like looked at everybody that was on the ground like that already, and I'm like, "Oh shit, it's a cop." And the dude was just like this to me the whole time. But I didn't see him. He was just like. I didn't see him, so I was just like, yeah, that. And then he told me to sit down or whatever. And then like there was this other dude, he saw it, he tried to run, he snatched the dude up, threw him down and kicked him mad hard in his ribs. Then he just started smacking everybody and shit, even me. And like, yo, the next time I still got smacked. I told the dude I was from the States or whatever. Because once they start to do these sweeps or whatever, and that's the thing, they don't do nothing to the dudes that sell, but they get the customers and they try to take their money. And so all the money that I was gonna get a dude, the cops just took it, and then he made me hold the bag so that other people could come get it from me, and then he would put a gun in their face and do the same thing. But I had to be out there so that like people wouldn't think the cop is there. So like, but I've been fucked with by the police many times. Ever since then, I've mentioned my nationality, and it has worked because we have privilege out here. They did a
random check out here when I was in the Uber. I didn't have anything on me, but it was like, you know how like it'd be that time of year where the police just be doing checkpoints, just be doing them hoes, and like because of my aesthetic,
blitz, right?
Yeah, because of my aesthetic, like he wasn't even gonna stop the car, and then he saw me through the window, and then he was like, "Oh no, stop!" And then like he was like, as an Uber driver, "Oh, like, where are you going?" Like, I'm taking him. Da, da, da. He's like, "Oh, like he asked me, what are you gonna do?" Da, da, da. I was like, I'm American. I was like, before you get started, I'm American. He was like, huh? He was like, then you died. I was like, I showed him my passport. He was like, oh, fuck it. Like, let him go. Like, cause that's paperwork. When you mention you American, like you better have a legitimate reason for stopping that person or you might have problems.
Yo, you know what? I never use that until it's the cops. That's the only time I say that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I try not to bring up the fact that I'm American until
that I'm from anywhere. Like that's the thing. Like lately, when I first got here, the conversation was always about that because my accent was so thick. It's still got an accent, but it's not as thick now. So because I don't have such a thick accent, I can have a whole conversation. And nowadays, only 30% of people that I talk to ask me where I'm from. That alleviates so much stress. I don't get the gringo text. I don't think I ever got it before because Sao Paulo's just different. Like customer service, people are more honest. I don't know. Like it's a little different from what people talk about Rio and shit. I guess because more tourists go to Rio, and so they could get gringos a little bit more. I never got by anybody for anything. Nobody ever tried to take advantage of me. I never felt.
Man, I also think it's because you're black. I think that is so my experience here. So one time, my homeboy. So he's white, and while we were out at Copacabana, we were at his restaurant. You know, there's always people on the beach trying to sell stuff to people sitting at they got like a little, it's open air, so everybody be on the side trying to sell you shit. So dude, my friend was trying to help this guy out, and he wanted to sell him a bracelet or something like that with the Brazilian flag on it. And my friend was like, okay, cool, like I'll do it. And he said, the dude said, 25 reais the first time, right? So my home was like, is that expensive? I'm like, no, that's not really expensive, really. Like, and so he's like, okay, cool, like I'll help out, cool. Boom. So he types in the credit, the number on the machine. Bro, that shit was 75 reais. I said, hold up, let me see that real quick. And he was like, yeah, you can see it. And I looked and said, quanto você falou que foi? Ele falou, 75. Eu falei, não, você não falou isso, não. Você falou 25. Ele falou, calma aí, você é brasileiro? O que isso tem a ver? Você não falou 25? Você tá sério? Ela vai lá. My friend was like looking at me like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, nah, he's trying to get you. Because if you're not paying attention to the machine, you know, they could type whatever they want to type on the machine, no matter what price they tell you, because he was going to pay with his credit card. So, you know, he didn't want to pay. It's a little extra tax when you use your credit card. They got to pay for that, etc. He was trying to take advantage of it, like, because he's white, basically. And I'm like, and I knew, like, I'm like, he looks, bro. My boy looked like a gringo, like just classic American.
Some people
like,
just looking. I'll be looking at people,
bro. I'm
like,
bro. And I was like, damn, bro. I was like, yeah, nah, like, oh, you gotta get up out of here. And he was like, no, man, no. I was like, no, bye, ciao. Like, so, and my friend, and that same guy told me, like, yeah, man, like this guy kind of like ran up on me when I was walking around Copacabana. I was like, what? Somebody ran up on you? He was like, yeah. I was like, in Copacabana? He was like, yeah. I was like, no, I've never had that experience. Ever, not one time. Like, not. Okay, so I knocked out a guy once, but it was like during the soccer game because he pushed me. Like, and it was like, and the only reason why that person felt bold enough to have pushed me is because of like this belief that I'm a friendly person, and they assume because everybody there is from here and I'm the gringo that I wouldn't do anything. Even though I made it very clear, like where I'm from, I'm like I live in the suburbs, and I was playing soccer with a bunch of suburban guys, and like we're from different places. Like y'all might be Brazilian, but like where I'm from, you don't put your hands on not a goddamn soul unless you prepare for the consequences, repercussions of that situation. So, but outside of that, like usually the truth is, bro, people be crossing the street when I'll be walking by at night. And my wife is like, yo, I've never realized that. Like whenever we're walking together, it's way different than when she used to walk like by herself home from work. Like when she was going to the metro or the bus, she would talk about like, yeah, I used to kind of like walk my headphones in and like look around and be like super aware. Cause you know, shit happens, especially when you're a woman, especially if you're by yourself. But like when she's walking around with me, she really don't be paying attention as much as she should be because everybody is like paying attention to me, like to see if I'm gonna do something, which is crazy. But I mean, it's like a different kind of privilege. But when you're Brazilian,
I think it's crazy too that Brazilians had this vision when like normally the people that have the locks is not the ones committing the crimes. If I had locks, I'm not going to commit a crime because I'm going to easily be described like, oh, he had like, boom, you never see people that got locks as criminals, but people are so ignorant. Like every person I see that got locks in Brazil, they're artists or they're like just a weed smoker or something, but they're not a criminal, yo. People that do crime here, they got shortcuts, yo. They have that little.
Boy, they really do be having a fade. They be having it. They call it Americano. They be calling it the Americano when you got the temper tape.
They try to look as normal as possible, just like their gang, the criminal organization, the PCC. Like you can't identify them by a look. That they think that we're idiots in the States, and I kind of starting to agree. Wearing colors and shit. And just like identifying ourselves, even the MS
getting a tattoo of your shit, the gang part of it.
Sometimes they get tattoos, and even me, like I got a tattoo with the two masks and stuff like that, laugh now, cry later kind of thing, which is one of the tattoos that represent that. So every time my shirt is off, the police automatically be looking at that. So another thing is, that's another thing people got to worry about. Like I see so many people that live in Rio or Sao Paulo or even Salvador, especially Salvador, which is wild out there. You know what I mean? But people don't think about that because people only think about crime and criminology through the lenses of what goes on in the United States. And I was like that for the first 6-7 years that I was here until I had to realize, like out here, like it's worse in many aspects, but it's different though. You know what I mean? But you're not safe anywhere because a lot of people are like, well, if I'm out in the favela, like you're kind of safe in the favela.
That's why I be telling people it's a weird contrast because I'm like, yo, like really, if you in the hood in the States, you are like more likely, unfortunately, they don't be looking out for each other the way they should, and they take advantage of a person's situation. Like they'll know that like you out of town and they'll hit your house up. But like out here, if you're from that favela and you try to fuck with somebody else in that favela,
You're gonna
somebody
get
gonna
got.
fuck you up.
That's why they go humo asfalto, right? You got the
Mm-hmm.
asphalt and you got the mojo. That's how they do it in Rio. So but what's really dangerous in some of these mojos, the hills, the asphalt, and the favelas in Rio is the shootouts with the police, because that you're not safe in that situation, and they're trying
Yeah.
to get the do what Trump is doing in DC. You know what I mean? But going in with the National Guard, with the military, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
people just think the military doesn't do anything here, but they're really patrolling the borders and dealing with illegal logging, illegal gold mining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Animal trafficking. That's what they really use their military for, that type of stuff. And rebuilding, natural disasters, like things happen in Rio Grande do Sul, in different spots.
Yeah.
The military does that type of stuff, but
The
they want to
landslides from they need the infrastructure. They got to really, in my opinion, as one thing Brazil can really improve on is investing. They're making a lot of money. Like for example, they just hit they broke a record doing agricultural trade with China,
that's all
60
fake.
billion.
No, but that's fake though. That's the thing. They don't pay taxes. And here's the thing: you know this guy named Jonas Manuel. Have you ever heard of Jonas Manuel? No,
Nothing I can think of.
I suggest that you and any other person that's listening that speaks Portuguese and can understand Portuguese. He has a different type of accent because he's from Recife, which is in the state of Pernambuco, kind of near where your wife lives, where your wife is from. And so his accent, like, it's difficult. I don't like. I like it. I think this is one of the best accents. To me, the best Brazilian accent is the Bahia accent. They really sound like they're singing. The one in
Yeah, they do.
Pernambuco, he doesn't sound like he's singing, but it's just a little different. But he's a communist or whatever. But the way he speech, he's a great orator.
Great orator.
And a great debater. And I know you like debates.
That's hard to do in Portuguese.
Well, he's a native speaker. That's what I'm saying.
He's a what?
He's a native speaker.
Oh no, even for native speakers, they don't like at least personally, I've noticed that like debating with a Brazilian is difficult because at times when they can't find the words to explain exactly how, because the way you communicate something or the way it's understood, like at least Portuguese guy and it's somebody lose their temper because they can't explain.
No, he's not like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say it's hard to be a good speaker and debater in Brazilian Portuguese.
Yeah, well, he's 100% fact, and he's really dope, yo. I would say check out Jonas Manuel. Jonas Manuel. He's gonna grow. Remember that I said his name here right now. They're already making death threats on him. Like he had a serious death threat.
He must be good. Then he must be good at what he do.
Yo, he grew. I've been following him for a minute, but he grew a lot lately. He did that Jubilee shit. Well, like the Brazilians are copying it though. It's not from Jubilee, it's got numbers just like it. He got like 3 million on his last one, debating 20 conservatives. And he made everybody.
Fields did basically, but for Brazilians.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so he did his thing. He debated this black conservative dude. He destroyed him. But he's got me looking at things just a lot differently, like about Brazil. And I pay attention to a lot of things. And like agro is the enemy of Brazil. It's not Brazilian's friend. It's helping to deindustrialize this country. This country was headed toward industrialization. It let the United States biatch the country into opening up the market and not protecting itself like other countries did. You know what I mean? And because of that, but
that's changed recently, but because of Trump, because that's why Trump is like in his beef with Brazil at the moment, because China came over and was like, y'all, we're gonna work with y'all instead.
No, but all of that's cool, and that's been happening. But agro does not produce the wealth for Brazil. If anything, it destroys Brazil because all of the extra credit that is allowed and allotted for big agro comes at the cost. What does big agro produce? The only thing big agro produces is soy, sugar, coffee, and oranges.
Yeah,
and
so,
and a whole bunch of other little things.
no, but no, that's actually basically it. Yeah, principally, yeah, that's it.
Have
Soybean
you ever
sugar.
eaten a soy sandwich?
No, I've not.
Just soy. I'm not talking about like making a fake meat. Just soy.
No, I
But
have not. No,
are
not
people
that I can
going
think of.
hungry in Brazil? Absolutely. All of those lands could be used for planting food for Brazilians to eat. Brazilians eat.
That is one of my complaints about Brazil. Is like I'm like y'all have so much. There's not really any excuse for why there's so many Brazilians that go without, right?
Politics. The
There's
system is
not.
up,
It's politics. When I try to explain to people, because people will ask me, for example, like, "Oh, do you like Bolsonaro? Do you like Lula?" I say, "I don't like either one." Actually, they're like, "What? How could you?" I'm like, "Well, Lula, in my opinion, has betrayed everything he claimed he stood for in various ways, and nobody wants to hear that shit." But I'll be like, "It's the fact." I was like, I'm looking at Brazilians. I live here, yo. I'm looking at Brazil. I'm looking at the prices on food go up while these politicians that he put in power are getting more and more money, and I don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm like, bro, people are suffering. People have like there are more barriers to create jobs, to make money. Like transportation is, like you said, transportation is actually getting more expensive.
Yeah.
People are these houses are getting more expensive for people.
And they have the money. They have the money. But here's the thing.
It's the richest country in Latin America. That's why I've been like, what the how is this happening?
They don't, but they have the money, but they don't have the money. They don't have the money because they have to about 50 to 60% of all of they call it PIB, which is the GDP.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, the GDP is the gross domestic product, right? And in Portuguese, it's called Produto Interno Bruto. Bruto is gross in Portuguese. So, and it's all, you know how Portuguese is the opposite. It's the upside down world. And so in this case, the 50% of that is used just to pay the national debt, and the United States has that, but at the same time, they just print money because everything's tied to the fiat system, the dollar. And so like they can just print money for now. The more and more
for now,
For now, I'd hate to see a world where I'm still living in the United States. This is just for everybody here. I hate to see a world where I'm still living in the United States and that happens because we're already violent. Everybody already has guns.
But there are people who are becoming more and more aware that there's a possibility that there is a United States in the next 10 to 15 years that is not able to print its own fiat currency. And like, that's why I be telling people, I'm like, y'all better figure out one of them BRICS countries, and y'all need to start picking up another language today. Get your passport, try to get a visa, and try to at least get a residency in another country. A lot of people, do your research on where your family has lived at, or where your family's from, because a lot of times you can get a visa easy. Like, so for example, Brazilians can get a residency and a citizenship in Portugal really easily, and vice versa, right?
Sometimes
Spain too. Yep. Mm-hmm. So like, because I can't honestly say where the U.S. is going to be at in the next 10 years. And I like what the situation with Argentina, no, not Argentina, Venezuela. I was like, yeah, Trump is like putting all these military ships in. He sent 4,000 Marines. I said, how many times do you think you can flex like this and bullshit? And when everybody knows you're not going to do anything and it's going to keep working, how often do you think, because they do this, they've been doing this for like the last 10, 15 years. They threaten the country, put a bunch of military troops around there. And then, they just pull them away because they realize they're not actually tough enough or strong enough or have the capabilities to defeat said country if they really got into it.
Well, they definitely easily defeat Venezuela, I believe. But defeating means what?
Bro, Maduro called up 4 million militia.
Old people. He doesn't have people. He doesn't have the might. He doesn't have the might.
Oh no! Maduro has it. So because they were unfortunately hyper aware of what happened with Chavez, they have been building up a militia. So basically, damn near every adult male is capable of fighting in the military. They are trained to fight in the military. One time, our special forces ended up there, our Navy SEALs, ended up there on the shore. These 2 Venezuelans or 3 Venezuelans walked up, saw them there. They were like, yo, hold up real quick. Went back, put on their uniforms, grabbed their guns, said, y'all coming with us. Took them to the damn palace, like, because everybody's trained to go. And that makes sense. If we could invade them, we would have already done it.
But that makes sense. But I feel like so many, it's like that would only make sense actually if we were talking about a fair fight of soldiers on ground and not just like drone, like technology that Venezuela wouldn't be able to combat against with just mere people.
At the moment, but that's that was pre-Russia Venezuela economic deal that they just which I think it was in May they put it together, and that's also, and so if they got to deal with Russia, Russia's going to do what they can to protect its economic interests. That's what they're doing right now in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, right? Like they sent soldiers, sent weapons, like. That's what's going to happen. It's like, yeah, they could say they don't have the technology right now. And yeah, maybe at the very moment they don't have it, but also you haven't given them a reason. So the moment you give somebody a reason to like Iran, for example, they never used their hypersonic missiles. That's why Israel was caught off guard, because they didn't know they had them. But China had been giving them pieces to make hypersonic missiles for years, and no one was paying attention because they were like, well, Iran hasn't had to use one. So they don't have the tech to penetrate the Iron Dome. And out of nowhere, this hypersonic missile, bam! What the fuck? Where did it come from? Yeah, we already had this. We just didn't tell y'all. Why would we tell you? For y'all to prepare for it? Exactly. So the U.S. does a lot of flexing, where it's like, they do a lot of this talking, and then when it's time to actually, okay, so if y'all about it, then show us. They pull back.
Yeah, man. So like I'll just say, like, living in inside of the United States has been good up until now. If it continues, because one man, that's the crazy thing, completely changed the way that a lot of people look at the country. You got a lot of people not wanting to do tourism. Brazil is benefiting. I don't know if you saw this, but the number, and I think we were going to talk about this actually. We started talking about this in the beginning. The number of tourists that have from outside of Brazil that have come here, and this year alone is going to be the highest, the biggest number that Brazil has ever had of tourists. They're going to finally break 8 million. They have never been able to pass 6 million tourists from outside, which we think sounds like a lot of people, but Brazil's always been saying that more people visit the elevator of the Eiffel Tower per year than this whole country of Brazil, which is pretty sad, because
it was like that. It was like that. But like I think for Carnival, it was like they had like 20 million in total for that month of Carnival. I was like. But I was out with my homeboy. I saw like, yo, I've never seen so many English speaking people in the same place. You
see them, a lot.
I've been in Copacabana like a lot. Like, that's where the tourists go. But I've never seen so many people. So I'm like, damn, this is weird as hell, actually. It was weird. Like, there's a lot of damn people speak English right now. Like, when you hear somebody speak English, you kind of like turn your head like, oh shit, what?
I always turn my head. I'm like, what's going on? Who's this person?
You one of us? All right, cool. Yeah.
A lot of times I don't say nothing. So when it's usually when I'm in the beach at Rio, Copacabana, and I'm near at the beach, and I hear like some black dudes, and they speak in English. I'll be right next to them with my wife. We speaking in Portuguese. They do not know I'm.
They don't.
And I'm just listening to their conversation. And a lot of times they talking some ignorant shit, and I'm just like,
I know, dog. Some people be coming out here, really do be coming out here on some ignorant shit. Like, and if it's one of my friends coming out to visit, and like, I'm like, yo, hey, don't be coming out here acting ass. Don't be coming out here on that arrogant American shit, please. Because I will leave you.
Because you can get got. That's the thing. Like, I tell people it's safe, but like you coming out here on some arrogant shit, you can get got, you can get fucked up. But it's also
a matter of respect. Like, just respect the culture. Like, respect the culture the same way you would want somebody to respect you if they was in your crib. Like,
that's true.
Because there are people who, because they're American, they come here with a little bit of money. They think they the shit. And I'm like, bro, first of all, like, that girl's probably only checking you because you got money, or this dude's probably talking because they think you got money. Like, that don't really make you cool. That just makes you privileged, basically.
That's know what I'm saying? Like, especially not even about having money, but just about being a citizen. Just about having the opportunity to be a citizen. So the fact that you live here and you've had a family with your wife and you haven't taken them back, like, that's not like your wife didn't want you for that. You know that. Because
she
y'all would have been there. Y'all would have already been there after all of this time. If that was what she wanted you for in the beginning. Now, if y'all decide to go back, that's the thing that y'all as a family decided to do. But that wasn't the initial attraction. Like, oh, gringo, nice, right? Let me get a come up.
No, but she was low-key dodging me because she thought like my goal was like I was originally supposed to move back to the States. Like that's one of the reasons like it took us so long to get together was because of that. Like she's like, I don't like. She don't even like Americans. She swore to God she would never be with an American. She was like, I never ever in my life, because she worked and she managed Airbnbs for a Brazilian who lives in America.
Excuse me.
So like she met a lot, bless you. She met a lot of Americans. She's like, I never thought I'd be an American because it's just like, especially the ones, the tourists that have, they just come here for that like the little month out of the year. They be just acting the ass, trying to, they just it's American arrogant ass American. I don't know how else to explain it, but like that's kind of how it is. Like they if they do try to speak in Portuguese, it's just like they're just trying to get something. They're just trying to get some ass. They're not really interested in understanding the person. And like there's a different, like when I was talking to her, she was kind of like, I would like ask her, like, oh, how do you say this? Or like, how would you say this? Or like, because she knew, for example, I was still like learning. So like there were some things that I would have to translate. And she was like, did you choose a translator? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, you didn't say it wrong or anything. It's just like, that's not how a person would normally say it.
A person really,
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, well, how would you say it? And so it got to the point where like when we really were like together all the time, this is what was crazy. Like, this is what I was like, oh, that's my baby. So so the first time we did shrooms together, all of a sudden,
shrooms.
Oh yeah, no, I do shrooms every month. God. Maybe it's legal out here. I be getting them shit. You buy them online.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, oh no, and it's like it's mad cheap. It's like you can get like an ounce for 100.
Interesting.
100 USD. Well, less than 100 now USD. So like, oh no, you can get more than an ounce. I lied. It's way more than an ounce. It's like you can get like 3 ounces for 100. For real, it's crazy. So we did shrooms for the first time because like she was like really like I don't know how to explain it, but like estava um pouco fechado. Like, tipo, muito tímida, ela não gostava de falar muito, e quando ela falou, ela sempre ficou com essa cara de chata. I don't know. Just, like, it was weird. Like, some days she'd be really happy, and other days she'd just like, I don't know. But like I told you, she had like a bunch of trauma by the way she acted, even the way she acted with me sometimes. So I was like, yeah, let's do shrooms, let's have a conversation. Bro, when I tell you, she starts talking like mad fast. She starts using all this slang. And I'm like, yo, what the? Whoa. Slow the fuck down. Why are you talking like that? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're talking like I'm a Brazilian, been living here for 36 years of my life. Like, why are you talking like that? And she's like, my bad. I was like, hold on. You mean to tell me you've been talking like slow and calm and like in this way that I can understand, just so I can understand, basically? Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Like, I want you to be able to understand me. I'm like, for real? Because like, just like speaking and learning Portuguese can be a little bit stressful, especially when you're like translating. For a Brazilian to be around you and you not be fluent, it's a lot for them to speak slowly because to speak fluent Portuguese, you eventually have to develop a rhythm. There's like a rhythm to speak for people to understand you. And so you break that rhythm to speak to somebody who doesn't speak fluently, and it's difficult for them. And she did it because of me, because she like perceived that I was actually doing my best to learn the language as quickly as possible so that I could understand her. But when you're on shrooms, it's like, your mind's working a little bit differently. And so she just got really, really comfortable and started speaking how she would normally speak. Luckily, I understood because like at that point, I was already like, it was like maybe 8 months in. So like I kind of was mostly fluent. So like, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. You've been speaking slow just so I can understand. Like, this is how you normally speak. She's like, yeah, that's how I normally speak. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was like, I'm like, no, it's fine. It's just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe that you actually, that's a lot of effort just to make sure I can understand you. She's like, well, yeah, like, because she doesn't speak English. So she's like, if I can't learn English, at least not right now, like, even though she's trying, she's like, the least I could do is make it easier for you to understand me.
Absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, that's the best situation. With me, I came here and I had met my wife on Facebook, and she was already doing hip hop. And I had my group in the States, and we just decided to, bring it together. But it was just an interesting story, like how I got involved in the Portuguese. But we were talking about something that I didn't finish, and I don't know what it was. I don't remember.
We were talking about the American arrogance and respecting the culture. And
okay, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you come out here, you got to try to understand the culture. You got to try to understand what Brazilian people go through. Don't just come out here and think like the world is your oyster and you could do whatever you want, because it's a lot of rules out here. A lot of things happen. It's an unequal society. And it is a lot of violence in certain areas. You're usually safe, if you hang out with the right people. But also, like, once you close yourself off and you just go out and you be speaking in English all the time with your friends all loud and shit, treating everybody that's in the background like they're just props kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see like that. A lot of people have main character in energy in another spot that's not theirs. Because you can have the main character energy in your own area, but when you go to another place and like you treat
No, they
well,
can't though. That's the problem, right? A lot of them cats can't. That's why they come out here.
No, I'm saying, but you could. It's something that you could
Theoretically,
do.
yeah.
You
but that's what
you can't
that's
do
what's so
it.
annoying about this shit. It's like, I know this ain't who you are when you back at home. So why you flexing while you here? Like, I hate that. Because I hate that. Like in the States, you see people, they got that I call it out of town syndrome. Like they go out of town, nobody knows who they really are. So now all of a sudden you want to act like the main character, you want to flex, whatever. Like, but like, that's not how you are. Why are you acting like this? Like,
so that's the thing I'm saying. Like, people don't even realize how that irritates people. Like, that's the thing. I love my people, but sometimes we could be very, very, I don't know, hypocritical. Because the same people that don't like to hear a whole bunch of Mexicans speak English, you in my country, you go visit someplace and you speaking in English with all your friends mad loud. And then when Brazilians feel uncomfortable
and impatient whenever Brazilians trying to communicate, like being patient as hell.
Impatient, treating them like, and then like, wondering when, like, I hear certain Americans that I know, they be complaining and like, Brazilians be getting mad when I be speaking to people in English. Like, it's my language. Like, and I understand, but I understand where the Brazilians are coming from too. It's the same shit that they say when they in the States and they hear people speak English, that same mentality, but it's a little different because the Americans come with speak English. You in my country that is giving you all of these opportunities. And ironically, I'm better than you know what I mean? So this language is actually more civilized than yours, and this culture is more civilized. Integrate in what the Brazilians are doing is they feel inadequate because their whole life they was taught that to get a good job and to be successful, I got to learn this language, but I couldn't for some reason. I didn't have the resources or the know-how.
They be trying, bro. Like, you really don't realize. People don't realize how much Brazilians really be trying their hardest to learn English. Like, you would think, like, oh man, like, because like for whatever reason, like Spanish speakers, they have an easier time learning English. I don't really know why. But
no, I wouldn't say that. I would say it like this. It's the schools, the system of education.
But even in school, bro, like my kid goes to a private school. One of the things that they brag about is English. Like, that's their English class from like, actually really from, so I'm about to put my youngest, my baby in daycare there at the same school that my oldest son is at. They start teaching English from that point. But the problem is the accent. Like, if you don't have somebody who has an American or even a British accent, like when you start, they don't speak how we actually speak. They're not learning to speak how we speak. They're learning English, but like when nobody speaks like that and you have nobody to speak to, how are you going to really? It's like learning Portuguese through Duolingo.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's a little bit different because they got more. They got so much more material that they can. But most of the things they watch are dubbed anyway. But if they were to take out the dub, that's what I always tell people. If you were to actually translate the lyrics and do what I did with Portuguese with Brazilian rap at the same time that you're listening to it and actually understand and putting it as a mantra in your head, you learn so much faster. But because here in Sao Paulo specifically with my students, they're really busy all the time. They're always on the go. As adults, the kids learn much faster.
That's true.
Every kid that I've had as a teenager has learned fast, like to communicate within. You might be a
really good teacher, bro. You might be a really good teacher.
No, I'm a good teacher. That's one of the things I can say. I've taught many people how to speak English, and my business has grown a lot in the last couple of weeks. I skyrocketed to 80,000 followers on Instagram. I didn't have nobody just 5 weeks ago. I made a post that I thought was basic, and for some reason, Brazilians, like they just thought it was like this.
That shit that you don't even think, like, this ain't gonna go viral, but I feel like I need to say it. I'm just gonna post it anyway, and that shit blow up, and the thing that you think is gonna go viral.
Yeah, I made a post teaching people how to pronounce the vowel sounds, and it's something that I thought was the most basic thing in the world. But no, everybody said none of my teachers ever taught this to me, and I taught that all vowels have two sounds: a, I,
Yeah.
o, da, da, da. Right, and that's the only rule I gave them. I said, "There's a lot of most likely there's rules, but there's always exceptions. But the one rule that has no exceptions, if the word is from English. Some words we take from other language.
Yep.
If the word is from English and it has a double consonant, the vowel before the double consonant is always a short vowel. So if there's two P's, it's apple and not Apple, because a lot of Brazilians like, no, my computer Apple, and I'm like, it's Apple, and I say there's two P's, but that's why we have a staple. And then I showed Staples the store, and then I showed the staple that you staple the papers. But then I was like, then if there were two P's, it'll be staple, but staple doesn't exist. But there is a drink that says it's made from the best stuff on earth, but it's clearly processed, called Snapple. But if it was a P, it would be Snaple, right? And I showed it like that, doing it like that. And then I did Might and Mitten, Diner, Dinner, Super Supper. And
it was crazy. I never really thought about that until you said it.
Well, that's what everybody said. I didn't know.
I know it, but I guess I never thought about it. Like, I just learned it from reading. But yeah, I guess it's true.
But it's because we don't learn. I don't think we learn about it when we're so young. You don't remember. You're like your son's age when you learned that. So you don't.
So the way I learned how to read early, and it was really like memorize the word. We were having quizzes. We had quizzes like every week. We would read stories. You have to learn context. And you would just have to memorize how it was spelled and said. And like, if you don't get it, you don't get it. It was actually somewhat problematic. There's North Carolina school system, and like I did well in it, but it's because like I had help like when I was young. So the way you teach it though is better to remember, especially like for somebody who is like, if you aren't, some people just have trouble with pattern recognition, right? Oh, yeah. So like, but if you explain that very simple rule can be the difference is somebody embarrassing themselves when they're reading out loud or understanding, which is dope.
And it's a rule that people even that speak English should be reminded of, I guess, But because I made that video, like mad famous people started following me and posting it. Like Maju, Maju Coutinho, she started following me. The lady who she's a black news lady, but she started doing Fantastico. Fantastico.
No, I might.
You watch
I'm
Global?
Really bad with names, bro. If I saw her, I probably recognize her. I follow like a lot of people.
Do you watch Global?
Yeah, every damn morning. It ain't like I got a choice. My wife put it on.
Me too. I don't opt for that, but it's always on. We live with my mother-in-law too. Yeah, so because of that, like I really realized that like school systems they teach things that are wrong, and they focus a lot on the verb to be, especially in the public school. So most of them, they have a bad base, but I want to be a part of changing that. Like I want to be a part of revolutionizing the English. What if the United States falls as an empire? English might not be, I might be out of like a whole career. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. So the reason why is because now I think that Chinese will come up. So there's that. But I feel like at the same time, English is so widely spoken. Like a lot of people, almost all of Western Europe, if they speak what, 2 to 3 languages, and almost all the time, one of them is English.
It used to be like that with French though, back in the day. And now it's not.
Yeah, but also France is also way more difficult, I think. France was rigid. They never wanted to move the language to adapt it and make it easier. Like Americans, they changed some things about the English language to make it easier to communicate. They simplified it from the way that they spoke it overseas. But like, for example, even though the USD is like, might fall, but the pound is still worth more than the USD right now. Like, which is crazy. Like, bro, the pound like worth like 6 or 7. Like, hey, out. I'm like, damn, bro, this is crazy. I didn't know that. I was low key salty when I found that shit out. But like, it's because I feel like there's just so much of a cultural there's a cultural aspect to English because of hip hop, because of Hollywood and all of that it's hard to see the language being replaced in the same way that maybe the currency can be replaced. It's like, It's just, we're so solidified. Like, bro, I'm sure being a hip hop artist, I'm sure bro, out here, dog, these people love them some goddamn American rap. It's like crazy how much they like.
It's changing lately. It's been changing a lot lately. They're starting to have much more pride in their stuff, which is why I'm changing a lot lately. You know what I mean? And I'm going more harder on their stuff, even with the stuff that I'm writing for other people to sing. I'm writing more stuff in Portuguese for other artists to sing in other genres. You know what I mean? I wrote a pagode for Brazilians to sing, not for me to sing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's dope.
And it's really dope. Like a lot of Brazilians love that. Everybody that's heard it loves it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm a good songwriter. It could be any genre. It could be sertanejo. I wrote a sertanejo joint. I wrote a forró joint. I don't like these genres, but I do it as an exercise. And those are genres because at Big Agro, like you said, the only thing they really invest in is church stuff and sertanejo music.
Bro, that's so true.
You know what I mean? So like they don't that money, and I think that's what I wasn't able to finish. Huh?
Have you noticed that like there's this weird thing where like the only way you can make connections, not like us personally, but like if you are Brazilian, is like you got to be connected to a church of some kind, and the people that go to a church to make connections with people that have money. Have you noticed that?
Not really, because I'm not involved in that scene too much.
Okay, maybe because so like where I live at, like I know a lot. Like I said, I know people from all sides, and I know that the people who generally have the most money, they are very much so involved in the church. But principally, they hang out with the other people who go to the church. That's their primary friend group, and it's like these people have been going to the same church for years, like or generations even. And it's not the church itself that's like obviously bringing money, but it's like the network of people.
No, that's no, but I think that will happen in any type of environment where you have people coming together. But it just happens more on a basis, a more frequent basis in churches. But what I was trying to say before about the Big Agro, like that money doesn't go into Brazil. You know what? All that money circulates outside of Brazil. You know why all that Big Agro money? Because the only thing that really poses to have real value in agro, because it's commodities, they don't have real value. But the real thing that has value are the machines, and the machines are all made in China. So those are the people who make the most money out of Brazil, because as Brazilian agro grows, they need more machines, and them shits is expensive. Even in the States, the machines, them agro machines, they like go for millions. You know what I mean? So they are the ones that are making more money out of anybody from the growth of Brazilian agro, and they're importing the products at a lower price. You know what I mean? So they're double making it. You know what I mean? Because then they're going to sell them higher inside of China anyway. And it's kind of communist, socialist, or whatever. So that money is going to,
China gonna make sure they want to circulate within it. China. I don't really like when people call it a communist country, because I don't feel like China is actually truly a communist country.
Yes, it's not.
Like, they're when they need to be, they capitalists as hell.
What I basically meant is that they don't have the same type of problems as a democracy with all of these levels, especially Brazil.
So they actually have more levels of like the people actually have more input. Because they only have the CCP at the very, very top, at the local levels, the people have a lot of input. But as far as just China's financial and economic situation is concerned, they have no problem interacting, obviously, with capitalist nations and spending money in capitalist societies, even capitalist societies they have beef with, outsourcing and things like that. Like they have to get to the point where they were, and when they engaged in NAFTA with the US in the 90s, bro, they benefited from high deregulation that the US didn't want to deal with, right? Which is why we shipped all of our jobs out and all of our products out for them to do it. And that's like one of the most hyper capitalist things that I've ever seen a country do to get to the position that they're in, and the society benefited from it. So like, at least you could say that. That's why I'm like, it's hard to criticize, because like the US would do us like that and then fuck us over. Like we ain't gonna see none of that money. We ain't gonna see the videos and the streets that we be seeing. Like when people go on tour, they be like, oh my God, I can't believe China's like this. Yeah, you don't see that shit in the US. Go to Detroit. Like go to the places that got basically destroyed because those jobs and the money got shipped out of the States to go to China. Like China then spent that money in the country for its people versus versus the US. But Brazil got the same problem where they can make all this money. I'd be looking at some of the money they be making. I'd be like, yo, how are you the richest Latin American country in the world and y'all have the highest income equality gap? Like,
that makes sense. I mean, we have a higher income in this equality gap in the States. It makes sense.
We do, but we shouldn't.
No, but I mean, but we actually abolished slavery through a war. And I'm not giving credit to the United States, but a war that, for whatever reason, there was a war fought against that institution that never happened here. And the only reason why it happened here when it did was because they were forced by exterior pressures, meaning England, to really finally abolish slavery. When it was been said by many abolitionists, like, we're destroying the country. The competitiveness of having a nation that doesn't have slavery is much better than a slave nation. You can't.
That's the real reason the Civil War was being fought, is because the South was actually they were literally a drain on the U.S. economy.
Exactly. So yeah, and so I know that's why I said, for whatever reason that it happened. That happened in the States, and it didn't happen in Brazil. And it wasn't north-south. It was the whole Brazil. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so this whole country was founded on slavery. In the hands, and not as many Portuguese came out here as Americans. You know what I mean? And then after here, to make the country that after slavery was over, it was in the hands of few people, very few people.
Very few.
Very few. But then they realized, we got to share this, not with these Negroes, but if we don't, there's so many more of them than us. It'll be a black country not worthy of respect. Kind of ugly. So they started that whitening process when they sent all of these people to come from it's Italy and Germany, in the worst people too, like not
Italy, Germany, Denmark.
Yeah, all these places, Poland, all these places where they came. A lot of Japanese too. And they set up shop. They were given land, a lot of land. And those are the people who oppose the quotas and affirmative action for blacks. When they're like, you got to work, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I'm like, bro, you didn't. You were given land to come here to make the country white and respectable. How dare you? This is why Brazil is in this case, because everybody, you got all of these oligarchs, different oligarchs that want this shit to happen for them. It's only so much money that you can make being an agricultural country, especially. Actually, you can make a lot.
No, you actually make a lot. Yeah, it should be like that, but they get taken advantage of.
They give big agro all these fucking tax cuts. Yo, big agro made $2.8 trillion last year. That's more than the Brazilian economy. The Brazilian economy is 2.3 trillion, but none of that went actually into the Brazilian economy. It went into a lot of people's pockets.
Now that made me a little bit pissed about these coffee prices. Then if they made why coffee prices so high?
In Brazil? You're talking about in Brazil?
In Brazil, yeah.
Because the exterior prices reflect the interior prices that people pay, right? That's what happens. The money that they put in on commodities, then they have to adjust the price of the dollar for that based on that money that, because they only do trade in dollars, with the United States and with other places. The United States, the biggest coffee importer from Brazil. They export more to the United States, which they're hurting now. And all Americans are hurting because now they got to scramble and get coffee from other places. But because they do that in the dollar, it affects the whole supply and demand. I don't understand the economy, but because of that, like the price that is set in the States, it affects the price here. That's why it's so expensive.
For example, so whenever the Russia-Ukraine war popped off and Western Europe started beefing with Russia, Russia switched to doing business in rubles, and their economy benefited heavily because of that. Their economy is the best it's ever been. Post-Soviet Union. And like whenever the foreign minister, it was during an interview on CNN, they said like, well, how do you feel about like a chance to rejoin the world's economy? And he was like, well, for what? We don't need to rejoin the world's economy. We good. Like, because they're doing all this in rubles now.
Disasters to realize that there's options. I feel like you need disasters to realize there's options. They needed a disaster to realize that they didn't need the United States 100%. What is going on right now, they're finding other markets. People think that it's only the United States. They're the number one coffee market, but Chinese people are starting to drink coffee now. They got all these other coffee markets in the world. They started another beef market with Indonesia, recently. So it's other markets, but at the same time, who cares? I was hoping they didn't find other markets so that they could cut the price and sell that shit internally. And they still will. Beef is going to get more cheaper here. It's going to get cheaper because why? Because next year is an election. Lula's been
election time, dog. That
It's
ain't the
so obvious.
boy, you ain't see so many football pitches get put up. Boy, the basketball courts be getting fresh coats of paint. Boy, the roads be
we about to get new Sao Paulo, new metro in Sao Paulo, all of that shit.
Air conditioning in the damn in the bus, boy. I'm trying to tell you, dog. Hey, look, at least in Brazil, boy, whenever election time comes, that's the biggest difference I would say with politics. Is like, yeah, they gotta do something. They gotta be able to say they did something. In the US, they'll just tell you, they'll pretend like they did some shit and make you a bunch of promises.
But they just wait, and they don't really do much. But I know that the price, because it just makes it's a win-win for everybody. They're not going to be able to ship up all of that beef with the new stipulations. So they're going to lower the price to not take a loss and sell it in the internal market. All of that quality beef that Brazilians never get. Like, the Brazilians don't have access to quality beef. You think that the beef here is quality,
but it depends on what part of the country you live in.
Okay, yeah. You got to be near the source of where they're doing it. But what comes out to Sao Paulo is the leftovers of what then gets shipped to the United States in better economy markets. And so they're going to have to circulate that in here. And everything that Lula been promising, which is picanha, which is that soft, tender beef. You know what I mean? Finally, the Brazilians are. That's good, right?
Man, boy, you make me hungry thinking about that.
Yeah, I might want to get
the grill.
But it's not affordable even now for people. And he's like, Brazilians will be able to do this again. And so that'll help him definitely get reelected. Should he be reelected? Hell no. Somebody new should get, because his existence divides. There needs to be a new party.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be like a whole new. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. Like what I seen
20 parties in Brazil.
Like, well, they have a party, but like, it's not like they don't have official parties. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but like, they need a whole new organization, and they need people. I just feel like a whole new approach to politics, because I see, for example, obviously Bolsonaro, he pitches his pitch to like the right wing Christians. And like, he full of shit. But then on the other side, you got Lula, who is like, Gen Z, millennial, always on Instagram talking about what he about to do, but never ain't really doing shit. Like, that's why whenever people don't know, he's the one who blocked. Well, my audience knows, but a lot of people don't realize this motherfucker blocked Venezuela from joining BRICS, and didn't even have the balls to show up to make the vote. And that's supposed to be his homeboy. And he knew that would be a game changer for the entire global South and Latin America if Venezuela was able to join BRICS. He knew that.
I think he just didn't respect the election. I didn't respect that.
But he didn't respect the election. But there's nothing. There was no legitimate reason to doubt the election. The only reason that there was doubt casted was because of the U.S. And whenever Maduro literally went to court, he was like, "Man, we can take it to court. Let's go. I will prove that I won the election." The other party that was claiming he didn't win didn't want to go to court. It was because they know he won. I mean, Maduro is extremely popular in Venezuela, and we know when a president is popular in a country like Venezuela or a lot of countries in Latin America, like Bolivia, for example. The U.S. overthrew Evo Morales, claiming that it was the people that wanted to overthrow him. Motherfuckers held an election right after, and they voted the same party in. You can see when a candidate is popular based off of the legislature. If the legislature is mostly his party, it means that the people at the local levels like them and their policies. And they're a little bit more educated when it comes to understanding how the U.S. interferes with their economy, like with sanctions and everything. Like, literally, the U.S. stole a bunch of money from Venezuela, like literally just fucking stole money, like, and claimed it was because of, violations from Maduro. But you shouldn't have, but whenever Venezuela's about to join BRICS, not a single soul, bro. Because, they got a special relationship with Venezuela. Venezuelans come here without visas. People, for those you don't know, Venezuela just pop up in this bitch, come without visa. Like, they have a very special relationship, largely because of Lula and Maduro's past relationship. But Lula's relationship, or really, I believe Lula got scared straight when they threw his ass in jail, and before they even came up with charges, really. And so that's why the CIA was here in 2022 to help make sure he won. That's a fact. The CIA was here, and since then, it looked like a completely and totally different president. Like, he's not the president that people thought that they were electing. And people believe that because, like, if you must love Bolsonaro if you acknowledge that that Lula has failed as a president so far. And it's because of this back and forth between, like, who can cozy up to the empire more, to avoid the political backlash and the legitimate backlash to your life if you get to that level of politics. And like, there got to be somebody brave enough to be like, yo, fuck y'all. Like, I want to do what's best for Brazil.
Yeah, that I agree that needs to happen. And I don't think the person for that is Lula. I do respect what he's doing right now, though. He didn't give in. He hasn't given in. Now, if he does give in about the data centers, that's just bad for Brazil. Those things, they drink too much water and doesn't offer any benefit to the country. I think Brazil definitely needs to invest in everything itself.
Infrastructure, bro.
Its own infrastructure, not China, nothing. Just you pull Brazilian money. There's so many rich people here that are not paying taxes. They're not paying taxes. That's the thing. Yo, if Brazil would just tax these motherfuckers, but they're scared that they'll take their money out the country. If they would tax them adequately, just a little bit more. Now they could fix things. Now they can invest in the sewer system. They can do a lot, but they're scared to tax the rich people. So the middle class.
They also need to take the money out of the. They need to take, which is damn near impossible because of how the system is structured. They got to start taking some of the power out of these corrupt ass judges' hands, like because these judges out here.
That's a lot of the things that the right says too, but I agree with it. Like judges have a lot of power out here.
It's too much, bro. You know, it's expensive as hell to become a lawyer in Brazil. It is because everyone knows to get to that level of power. Like I'd rather be the highest judge in the land than the president.
The president, yeah.
I know that.
You got more power. It seems like you got more power.
Oh, yeah, bro. This man Moraes ex-band. What? Not X. Well, yeah, X at one point, and then Rumble, like the streaming platform, because they wouldn't do what he wanted them to do, and like he was making up excuses, really, and really about like what was being said about him, about the decision making, et cetera, et cetera. They'll come up with whatever excuse they have to justify the decision that they make, but like it's like
I think he should be taken down, man.
He's bad, bro. He is a neo. I ain't never seen such a mix of neoconservative and neoliberal in one person. I'm like,
it's hard to understand. I was asking somebody, it's like, what side is he on? It's hard to understand what side he's on. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like the way the right hates him so much, you think he's a left guy, but he doesn't seem like it. I've never seen him smile. I'm not saying that people from the left smile more than people from the right, but he just doesn't seem like a good person. Look in his eyes and you're like, he's a bad guy.
Bro, if I'm not mistaken, Moraes, was like the head of like the security ministry in São Paulo. And like the dude was fucking corrupt as shit, which is how he got his position as judge.
I don't know anything about his
well, like that's the only way you get powerful positions out here is like you gotta be part of police at some point, or you was a judge, or you was a lawyer. Like, and it's crazy. I've never seen another country actually where like you basically need to at some point have been involved with the police to rise in the ranks of politics. It's like usually you're a lawyer.
I didn't know it was like that out here.
Bro, it's like look up how many people. Hell, even in Cidade de Deus, but the show. The guy was involved. The guy who was running for a counselor. I can't remember what he was running for. Like his dad was top cop at one point, and he like was benefiting because of his dad being top cop, and like that's basically how it goes. Like people,
I think it's a real thing. That sounds really Rio de Janeiro more than Sao Paulo.
But it's really every big city. Every big city is like that. Like and then you got to make connections within the police because to cover up your corruption, you got to make connections within the police department.
Gotcha.
So it's like it's bad, bro. Like when I learned because I in my area, there's a lot of cops out here. And my friend is black. He's black. He's a black cop, and he just mostly does patrols around the favelas. And he hates being a cop. Like he does not like his job. He likes the money. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, so why don't you just quit? Because like he actually is at a point in his life now where he can definitely get another job, like middle management type job. He said, because if I don't patrol these favelas, it's gonna be one of these other cats. Gotcha. And I was like, oh, that's true. Shit, I ain't thinking about it like that. He's like, yeah, but he's like, and it's sad. That's why I can't. He's like, I can't leave. I can't stop patrolling these favelas that I've been patrolling for the last 15 years because I know who's going to replace me, and they're not going to give these kids a second chance. They're not going to be. They're not there to look out for the neighborhood. They're there to meet a quota, basically.
Word. So the last thing I wanted to just talk about as far as living out here is that like just to for people to pay attention to the racial aspect about here. You know what I mean? Like certain people, I've heard people say that they're leaving the United States because of racism, and that they live in Brazil where they feel like they don't experience it. And I'm like, yo, this is literally like one of the most racist countries that I've ever been to in my life.
Because I've had a different experience so far. Like I've seen racism, but like not in the same way, I guess.
Nah,
it's not in the same way.
It's much more. Brazil's like 8 to 10 to 20 times more racist than the United States. It's in the very fabric of the nation. And racism shapes this whole nation. And it's so racist that nobody wants to talk about it. When I first got out here, I was just perplexed. I'm like, my wife's mother was basically a slave. You know what I mean? I mean, she couldn't come home. She couldn't come home on the weekend. She's a maid, right? A black maid. They come in an elevator servicio, the elevador de servicio, the service elevator. There's a service elevator in every hotel and every establishment, definitely in Rio de Janeiro, which is even more colonial than Sao Paulo. But in Sao Paulo, it's service elevators. I've taken them before. I don't have the prejudice of taking them. A lot of people wouldn't even get in it, even if it opens. Because that's for the slaves.
I don't got a damn problem taking the service elevator, dog. What?
No, but that's like some black people don't like eating watermelon in public. Some black Brazilians don't like eating bananas in public. You know what I mean? Because they call them macacos. It's like I'm not just gonna go in in the middle of a white area. I grew up completely segregated. I had no white friends. I had no contact with white people my whole life. If I'm around white people, the last thing I'm gonna do if somebody gave me a free watermelon, the last thing I would do is be that white person's wet dream for that moment and be like, you see, look at him with his watermelon.
That's crazy.
Like I'm not doing that, right? So that's the same thing about like Brazilian person growing up here. I'm not getting on that. So I'm not having anybody see me because it's experiences, lived experiences, things that we might not even notice. But it's so much racism. Like she couldn't. You know why my wife's mother couldn't go home until the weekends? She could only go home on the weekend. She had to live with that family. Was because they needed to eat breakfast in the morning, and they ate breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she would never be able to get there in time to make their breakfast. So she had to live there, and and because she
choose that, but other people are like, that's just crazy. Just because they want breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning is the only reason.
but she had no other options because my wife's mother's actually deaf too. So like that was a job she had. She kept that job for a long time. You know what I mean? But the way they treat people, like the system is racist. Like it's so racist. This whole system is exclusionary racist. It's not necessarily a racist as of I'm going to segregate because the communities have white and black. But the rich, wealthy communities only have black people when they're cleaning and when they're working in the houses. And then you never see black men. In Rio, you see only black people sweeping up the streets. There's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Like you might
see in Rio, it's a little bit different because I see both. That's why I was like, that's interesting because, and I also feel like Cariocas are notably like they're just different. They look different. Like I don't know how to explain it. They just have a whole different vibe, especially if they've been here for generations, right? If they got like it's in Rio, for example, you see mixed up like a black woman and a white man, and like there are two kids. Literally, one of them is black and look like the white dad, the other one is white and look like the black mom. It's crazy, actually. I'm like, yo, this is wild as shit. Like,
they have all right. So the mixture is what they use to try to. They use the mixture to try to distance themselves from the races, they try to call us that we're from a what do they say? A racial democracy. That's what they call Brazil, a racial democracy. You
I've never even heard that.
It's popular. All Brazilians say it. Democracia racial. Researcher. That's something that a lot of people say to try to cover their tracks and say, no, we're not racist. Look, everybody's together. And it's together. Why? Because, like I said before, this was a black country because there was like 7 slaves, every one Portuguese person, maybe 10. So once slavery ended, the country was black. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's more black people here than every other country in the world except for Nigeria.
But they brought all of these people in. They shipped them in. They gave them all the land while we got nothing. Same thing that happened in Brazil, in the United States. But in the United States, we have had programs that and we had wars. Like my grandfather fought in the war. Moved from North Carolina to New Jersey. I grew up in a decent house, living in the basement with my mother.
Every black person got a family member that lived in North Carolina at some point. Because I swear to God, I feel like that. Like every
Yeah,
black person.
I grew up basically in Durham, going back and forth to Durham all the time because my grandfather's family is from
Yeah,
Durham.
we were back and forth from New York to in Fayetteville. Like,
Okay, so, yeah,
I'm like,
my great aunt's street in Durham was Fayetteville Street, right near UNC Central.
bro, yo, that's crazy. Yo, we could be like low key because my great grandmother is like from Durham. When they did their family reunion, is in Durham.
Yeah, so you see, I got a lot of family in Durham, man. Bull City. Now, so we had these opportunities where black people entered the workforce specifically because of the war. You know, and
Yeah,
like my grandmother started working and she kept working for 40 years, like for 50 years. She was the reason why my father got the job after being a criminal because she had a track record since the war working at that company. It was called Frigidaire. They used to make refrigerators and air conditioners,
yeah,
but during the war they made tanks and bullets
and
and shit,
everything. Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like we had this, they didn't have that. Black people were automatically always excluded. So if you see a black person driving a car, he's getting stopped in a blitz because why do you have that car? Until nowadays, like you just don't expect black people to have anything. So when they do, they're automatically viewed as a criminal. I feel like that exists in the United States, but so many more Americans have things now that a white person that thinks that
Less barriers.
he's kind of outdated, like in the States. He's like, yo, it's obvious that there's a lot of black people that have shit. So, like, what are you talking about? You're gonna get embarrassed on cameras. Like, you think this ain't my car? You think I'll see the videos? Like, white people just gotta accept it. We came up. You know what I mean? Not everybody. Not everybody. It's a lot of people living in the hood. And it's bad for us, like black people that's still in the hood or whatever, because to explain that to a Brazilian where they're just like, wow, life is easy. You get whatever you want. You just got to work hard for it, but you get it. In Brazil, you work hard and you don't get nothing. You know what I mean? So that's
Nah, it ain't like that. It ain't like that for everybody.
That's what I've been telling people all the time.
There's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of luck. And unfortunately, you gotta, like you said, that military aspect that is usually the game breaker. Like maybe I did join the military, but like if it wasn't me, it was usually like my grandfather or my dad. At some point, 1 or 2 generations ago, somebody was in the military, retired, and your family benefited from that. Like that's generally what happens. And if you weren't, or you were lucky enough to be part of that, the motor industry or the Rust Belt revolution that happened,
ended. So only a couple decades that, but so that's the thing. Like I think when people come out here though, they just need to understand that racism does show itself in a different way. And it can be very extreme, and people are just generally ignorant about stuff that we kind of figured out because we grew up segregated. So we figured out stuff that you expect people to understand, but because they live intertwined with other people, they don't see it as well and as easy. And some of them do, but then when they talk about it, they're the problem. Like if you talk about racism in Brazil, you are the problem.
Yeah, I've gotten arguments with people about it sometimes. I've got
can't talk about it, yo.
Somebody was like, "Well, no, racism doesn't exist." I'm like, "No, it exists here. It's different. It's just like it doesn't look the same." Like I would say, the racism in the States is like a violent, aggressive type of racism, and like they have that in Brazil, but it's not as prominent.
It's extremely aggressive here too. It's just different.
But in Rio, it's not. It's more aggressive. Like you get treated poorly if you are poor. That is like the thing that I've seen consistently in Rio. I can't speak on some power.
And black too, because if you're
poor and black, it's even worse, of course. But like you'll see like poor white people, for example, like in a favela that was in front of my house, like this group of white dudes, or I would say they were mostly white, younger Brazilian guys. Bro, the cops had them like on the fucking ground. We're like, yo, what the hell is going on? Ultimately ended up letting them go. But like, bro, like people were like outside trying to make sure that the cops didn't do anything to them because everybody knew like if you were living on the other side of the street, they wouldn't be bothering y'all like this. But because y'all live in this favela.
That happens to them. But it's just worse. Especially in Rio, it's worse for the black dudes.
So when I explain to people like, yeah, like it's the racism is different, but it's here, and like they're like, no. I'm like, well, no, it's here. Like, I mean, because like they're like, well, no, what if you expect? I'm like, well, no, I'm different. I'm a gringo, and so once that is known, I'm not going to be. It's automatically like a qualifier, a caveat that's going to make my interaction with anybody different. But like,
I can't go in stores, yo. In Sao Paulo, every time I go to stores, people follow me. It's been like that since the moment I got out here. I get followed at stores. I don't tell people I'm from the States because that would be the most arrogant. Stop following me. I'm American. I'm not that type of dude, yo. I can't. I just leave. I'll leave the store. I'm like, I'll try to go to somewhere else, but I don't like going in stores, yo, because I just don't like it. I don't feel like being followed all the time.
That happened to me once out here. It happened to me once in Copacabana, and it was like, of course, it was like in Renner. I want to say it was.
Yeah, Renner.
And
it's not even that. Like Renner, like, you know what I mean?
I'm like, bro, relax. It was the security guard came from downstairs and followed me up because it's Copacabana. So for everybody I don't know, usually everybody there for the most part is white. Like it's just like or like white Latino. And so and the people who are going in Renner are usually not black people, and most Americans don't know what Renner is, so they're not going there. So like they see me and this dude was like on my ass, and I'm like, I know this motherfucker ain't fall. This is the first time that happened to me in Brazil. Because usually I wouldn't even be in Renner and Copacabana, but I needed some shorts at that moment. And I'm like,
that happened to me in Rio too. It happened to me more than it happens.
I was like, yo, can I help you? Like, but I asked him in Portuguese. He's like, do you need some help or something? No, if I needed help, I would ask. Like, why would you? Like, what? Do you need something? He's like, no. I was like, then why are you breathing down my goddamn? Like, why are you breathing on my neck, bro? Like, why are you here? Because I'm the only one up here right now. I'm the only one in this part of the store. Like, because I was picking stuff up to go by. And he's like looking at me like, I'm like, bro, there's so many people downstairs and you're a security guard. Why the hell are you up here?
Yeah. I feel like that happens to me like every time I go out to buy. Like usually what happens is when I go with my wife to shop, and she's the one that shops more. I shop thrift more than anything. So when I go to my wife to shop, I just stay in the outside. I only come in when she asks me to. I like watching people walk by. It's so much more less stressful than walking around looking at her trying on clothes and shit, and everybody following me because I don't know what to do with my body. Like I don't know where to place myself where I'm not making people feel uncomfortable.
Are you tall too?
I'm 6 feet.
Yeah, I'm 6'1". It's actually a thing. Like I'd be like, yo, my wife sometimes be trying to work her way in the crevices while we walking and shit. I'm like, yo, I can't fit in there. What are you doing? Like, but she's like 5'5", 5'4". I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I can't be there. I can't. Like, bro, we're walking on the sidewalk, right? And like we walk past a tree. You ever had that shit happen? Whenever they walk in, because the branch for them is like not that low.
Yeah, and you gotta,
like, damn, baby, what you doing? You set me out like that for? She's like, oh my bad, I forgot you were back there, type shit. But it's a thing. I feel you though. I feel you on that. It's there is a. Go ahead.
Like, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was just saying the biggest thing is you can't really run here. I don't know if you run a lot, but like my wife has told me, and I'm a person like I like to be on time, and I also like to leave later. You know what I mean? So I use the metro system, which is
leave later. Like okay, I get what you're saying. Leave from the location.
I don't like to leave early, but I still like to be on time. So like I love the metro system in Sao Paulo. I know all of it. I know how to get around. I got a car, but I don't really drive at all. Right, my clutch ain't even working right now. I just drive to the park to take my dogs. It's easier. But I'll be on the metro because I love the Sao Paulo metro system. I'm always on it, right? But I'll be running. But my wife, she hates that. She was like, yo, you can't run here, yo.
They hate it, bro. They do.
You can't run. You will get shot and killed. The last thing that they would, you don't run, yo. Don't run, yo. Don't run around people. Don't run because if
not in Rio, bro. They're always running in Rio. So it's not but it's like literally,
it's different. People like black people don't technically run in Sao Paulo because they understand that if the police see you running, they just shoot you. They don't ask any questions. It's a black man running, they just shoot you.
I think it's because of beach town. I really think it's because it's a beach town. So like everybody out here be on their fitness shit. Like we got a bunch of every other street. You got like the spots where you can work out outside and shit.
Okay.
Like even in the hood, like even in the favelas, you got it. So it's like it's different. It's a little bit different because of I think it's like a culture thing. Like I mean, you can't be like running full speed in normal people clothes. Like that would be weird.
No, he was though. That's the thing. He was in normal clothes coming.
That's what I'm saying. That would be considered weird if you were like running.
But that's what I do. That's what I do. I don't run for working out. I run to get places faster on the train, and it does alarm everybody. But I need to get where I need to go, yo. And I need to get there. I run, but like I said, my wife coming from the hood, like she know how it is. It's like, yo, we don't run out here, yo. We know how these cops are. That's they're looking for. It just happened. And all she needed to see was that black dude that got killed last month, running to get home to his wife. Black wife, beautiful woman, good dude, going to school at night, got his job during the day, working hard, working up the ranks. He just was running towards the bus stop. Cop, you know that they trigger happy out here. They always got their hands on the shit ready.
They really do.
You can't run.
Even when they be in the crib, just going through traffic, they be out like they be with their hand on the trigger, dog. That shit crazy.
Yeah, but it's because they know they've killed somebody before, so they're paranoid. Every cop is paranoid. So you imagine that cop that's paranoid. You're running near him, he's gonna pop you. My wife knows that. My wife has been telling me that. Like I said, I'm addicted to running though. Like I gotta go where I gotta go.
But that's that northern shit, bro. That's that New Jersey, New York shit.
If I
be walking fast, and my wife be like, "Yo, why are you walking so fast?" I'm like, "I'm not walking fast. Like I'm just walking and walking."
I told dude I was gonna get there at 6, so I'm trying to make sure I get there at 6. You know what I mean? My word is my bond. But I slow down wherever I'm running. If I see anybody that look like a security or a cop, I automatically stop myself because I don't want to run past that dude because I know that they're ready to kill. Yo, they are ready to kill. This is the country that kills the most black people, or the most people in general, but the most black people by far than any other place. Every 25 seconds a black man is being killed in Brazil.
Oh yeah, no, that is a problem out here. Because like, I mean, the military police out here. I mean, you gotta think they. It's crazy how they kind of they put on this show. At least in Rio, I can't speak for São Paulo, but like they put on this show where they run through the favelas. But like they like basically are making an announcement that they're going through there, which is weird as shit. I'm like,
no, that doesn't happen out here. That happens out there.
Yeah, bro, they really be doing that. Like they will live stream. And I'm like, but if you trying to catch the plug, why would you make a whole announcement that you about to run?
Because the shooter
is working with the plug.
It is that, and that's stupid. It's a stupid move, but really, them shootouts cost a lot of people's lives, and it's always black people. The bullets always manage to find the black people, yo. If you don't ever walk around with a black cell phone. This is why I got this here. My wife said, get a bright, feminine case. My last one was pinkish. This one is blue.
Why is that?
Because like at least 10 people in the last 3 years and got killed by the police holding a cell phone in their hand. They say it's a gun. And they kill you if it's black casing. Get a bright Hello Kitty case and put on that motherfucker. That way, when you take your cell phone out, like let's say the cop asks you for your information, and you jolt your shit out your pocket real fast, and it's black, and he's one of them paranoid motherfuckers with the red eyes. They be snorting coke, yo, getting ready for.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Yo, I'm trying to make everything as easily to understand that I'm an upright, upstanding citizen, and then I'm not trying to do no crazy shit. So I put Hello Kitty shit on my cell phone. You know what I mean? I don't walk around with fucking those small ass umbrellas. If I got an umbrella, it's gonna be the long one that I can use like a cane shit. Them little push up umbrellas. Rio de Janeiro.
I actually don't like carrying nothing in my hands when I'm walking out. Well, that's actually a habit I got from the States. I don't like carrying anything in your hand because people can misconstrue it as whatever the fuck.
As a gun, yeah. Imagine you running with one of them umbrellas. I've been caught out there doing that. So what I do is I put it in my belts inside my pants, and I'm running because I just don't want it in my hands. You know what I mean? People gonna think I'm trying to run down. You running towards a car. Sometimes they just roll the window down and shoot because they might think you're running down trying to rob people.
And on God, yeah, that's true because that shit happens. It really do happen. I always tell people like, so the thing I've noticed though about crime out here is that I feel like there is also a misconception. Like people are like, well, oh no, the U.S. is super safe, and I'm like, well, no, I feel like the crime just looks different because like there's way more foot traffic in at least in the major cities of Brazil that it makes it easier for like little robberies to happen. But I'm like, I've seen people in Miami and Wynwood and in like bright ass areas in the middle of the night get robbed. Like I've seen it happen like right in front of me. Yo, did that person get fucking robbed? Like why nobody? Why nobody doing nothing about it? Like type shit. And but it looks different, and I feel like but also everybody thinks that like the U.S. is like the movies. Like they watch movies, and which is I guess kind of for some people like that's their conception of or perception of Brazil. It's like it got to be Ipanema, Copacabana, or Cidade de Deus.
Those are the three. I don't know about all of the different places inside. Yeah, it's true.
And it's not like that. Really quick before we get you up out of here. How is it being American married to a Brazilian woman? Because everybody has an experience. Like everybody got different, unique experience, and it's always interesting hearing the stories because I feel like there's a lot of similarities, but like also, it's being married to a Brazilian woman is an experience. People don't know. Like it's a roller coaster.
That's an experience. I don't have anything really to say that's not positive or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like culturally it's different. It was much in the beginning. I feel like I've adapted to the Brazilian, at least the Sao Paulo culture, almost 100%. Like I've been out here so long, I kind of forget about my life in the States. I forget who I was in the States and the things that I was interested in because I just don't have a lot of contact with it. I don't really talk. I only talk to one friend and I talk to my mother. But as far as like other people, I've been basically forgotten. You know what I mean? So me and my wife, like in the beginning, it was difficult because we didn't have anything that we knew together. Like I can't go back. You remember on the Dave Chappelle show when he did that? Like we had
Yeah,
no,
bro. Yeah,
we didn't
that's the
have that.
hardest part.
So we had to create shared memories, shared cultural memories. Everything that's happened since 2016, we both remember together. And then the other thing, she just tells me, but because I've heard it so much, it's like I was there. So when I hear people talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, back when Shusha said, I don't want no short dick man on TV. And everybody's like, yo, how did you know about that? That happened in the 90s. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. My wife talked about it, and a lot of people talk. I heard a lot of people talking about it. Like, oh, you know, when Ja Rule came to Brazil and was like talking about Brazilian women in a offensive way, and I'm like, oh, how'd you know about that? That was like in 2000. I'm like, you know, people.
Yeah, that's crazy. I knew about that too, but I was like, damn, that's crazy. Everybody knew about that. I was like,
yeah,
they still big on Ja Rule out here though. They still big on that boy.
Yeah, because he came recently, I think, right? So for me, I think it's hard to answer that, like, because what I hear when people
that's
talk
a pretty
about,
good way to sum it up. I feel like honestly, like
because like I see, like when every time I talk to somebody that's married to a Brazilian woman, they talk about like some stereotypes that like I don't experience with my wife, like loving to kiss all the time, being super emotional and stuff like that, and like my wife's not like that. You know, and I think it's because she lived in Italy for 10 years, and those were her formative years. Like she went to Italy when she was 10, yeah. She went to Italy when she was 18, and she came back when she was 28. You know, so like those are your formative years of who you become. You know, and hers were in Genoa in Italy.
But
right?
Italy's they're very demonstrative too, right? Like they're kind of like that too.
True. I think they are too, as far as like white folk, they're the most, but at the same time, she's not like that. You know what I mean? She's her way. And so her experience has made her different than I feel like a lot of people expect a Brazilian woman to be. You know what I mean? As far as certain things, she's still a real neat freak. Everything, you know, super clean, the way she's always cleaning shit all the time. And I'm the opposite. I'm not like that. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. Like,
Brenda's crazy. I would if your wife didn't talk, like just like looking at her vibe, I would assume she was American.
really?
Yeah, like just she kind of reminds me a little bit of my mom, actually, like in a lot of ways. Like, and it's like, but she also reminds me of my wife too, because my wife is she's not Carioca, and so she's like for Americans, they probably would think my wife is strange for Brazilian because of their perception of what they think a Brazilian woman would be like. So like I said, she wasn't really animated, well, especially when we first got together. Like didn't have this out there personality, always talking to people, really like interactive. She was to herself. And even though like we are very communicative, but like it was like kind of the same situation. Like and I didn't really realize how much we actually have had, me and her have had conversations about that, because in the beginning, sometimes she would be like just kind of like to herself, or sometimes I'd be to myself, and then like she would kind of forget. Like I'm like, yo, you know, I'm here like by myself, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm my friends, my family, and everything are here, and I'm really close to my brother, and I'm really close to my niece, my nephews, and my sisters. So like that part was my best friend really, and so that part was a little bit difficult, because this is like the first time that me and the first time me and my brother weren't in the same place, like didn't see each other for a long time, was when I went to basic training. That was like 2 months, and then like when he went to basic training and in ACE, like when he was able to go to A school in the Navy, like I was going to Virginia like every 2-3 weeks, because he wasn't used to not having family around. Like, because me and my brother were like, we're tight. But we're only a year and 5 months apart. So like being here, you know, Brazilians are very family oriented. They you know, she's in a little family group chat with like 50 damn people, like, and all that good stuff. And like I kind of had to like remind her, like, yeah, like, you know, I'm here by myself, right? Like, so it would be nice if we communicated more or talked a little, because especially if I'm going to go out of my way to communicate with you, and I'm learning. I'm not forcing you to learn English. I never really forced her to learn English, because I'm like, if you don't have it in you, you don't want to do it.
You don't have the interest. You don't have the interest. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to learn. So even though she does try, but like I get it. So I'm like, but I'm willing to compromise on that front if you're willing to put in the time to make those shared experiences. You know what I'm saying? And like once I talked to her in a way that she could understand, she's like, oh shit, I didn't even really think about that, because she talks to her family all the time. It's not like she don't have a second thought about it, right? She sees her brother lives here, her sister lives here, her aunt lives here. And even in Maranhão, like they're FaceTime each other all the time. They're like they always have stories about everybody. It's like she don't think about it because she can go there when she feels like it, or talk to her family here when she feel like it. They come over for Churrasco all the time. For me, I'm like, I'm learning the culture. And you are different to some degree than the culture itself. Like my wife actually prefers to listen to Spanish music and shit. And in American music, she does not like Brazilian music, bro, at all. She hates
That's not
funk.
good. Oh,
it's
funk
crazy.
is okay. Funk is one thing, but what about samba? Samba, pagode?
No, bro, no. Like really? I listen to more Brazilian music than she does.
Okay. Well, so my wife is really big on samba, really big on pagode.
But because she lived out, she was living in No Mato her entire life. She didn't really hear nothing, like until and then when she came to Rio, the first, like everybody there to it's somewhat American as far as pop culture is concerned. So like she got into Shakira, what's that boy name? Not Ozuna, not Maluma. What's his name?
I don't know.
Maluna, I can't remember his name, but like she got into like that type of stuff. Like I'm like, that's so weird. Like, why are you so infatuated with American music or Latin music? She was like, oh, it's because that's the first stuff I listened to when I got here. I was like, okay, that's cool. But
if it weren't for music, me and my wife wouldn't be together. Like, you know what I mean? I met her on Facebook based on, she had a group, doing hip hop, but they were tying it in to music that's based on the religion. You know what I mean? So they're part of African based religions out here. That's another difference that we have. Like, I'm not a part of the religion, but she is. But I respect it as an understanding that this is us as African people. This is what we were doing before we were forced to accept Christianity, or forced to accept Islam. And I'm a product of Christian mother side of the family and a Muslim father side of the family. You know what I mean? So I grew up, my father was in the nation. He personally knew Malcolm X. You know what I mean? So with that, like, I had an open-mindedness to different religions. So when I got with Lena, I already knew. And I already dated a woman when I was living in Panama who was in Santeria, which is, basically the same thing. All of the deities are the same. We call Orishas, right? They're all the same. They just have different names. They have different names. So, like, I go to different events with her and see how they do, their religious practices. And last one, I actually felt like something, and it was crazy. So I want to even look for more information about it. But like, I know that I don't necessarily want to be that 100%. You know what I mean? But just on a spiritual basis, it makes me kind of jealous that they have that and we don't in the States.
Yeah, and they serious about it too, and it's actually beautiful to see. Like, I've experienced it, been to a few events. And it's like, I'm like, it's dope. Like, I'm like, damn, they got their own thing and it wasn't that imported shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we would have had it, but they took it away from us. They took the drum away. Exactly. You can't have that without the drum. They go one and the same. And every time I'm there with them, like, especially when it's black hands, because when it's non-blacks and they're on a tambour, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Just be honest. But when it's black people beating that drum, you can feel the energy. It's almost like being in the church choir. It's a similar type of energy when you're singing, because everybody's singing the songs. Of course, we have a better vocal arrangement in our voice because things evolve differently. But just samba is like that too, to me. Like, when you, like, a lot of times, like, going to samba is just when you're stressed out, and like, if you know the songs and just be singing it with the people, you could feel that energy. You know
Bro,
what I mean?
it's different. People don't know, dog. Like, oh man, look, I went to the club first time out here, in Rio, not in Sao Paulo, and like it really the DJ starts at 11, but like from 9 to or from like 8:30 or 9 to 10 to 11, they just got a live band playing samba and everybody's singing to like everybody knows every word to the song. I'm like, bro, everybody knows every single word. And it's
That's
just
the beauty.
it's like a whole vibe, bro. I'm like, yo, this is lit.
Yeah, that's the beauty about samba, man. Like I feel like the only thing that we have that's similar is the church choir. We don't have nothing where it's just all about everybody singing together. Because if you go to a show to see an artist that you like, he's gonna have a microphone and he's gonna sing. But in a real samba, like it's not about a microphone. It's about the drum, banjo, kind of like, you know what I mean, cavaquinho, and you know, the shakers or whatever. I forgot the name or whatever. But that's all you need. And then the voices and the people's gonna sing the songs, and
you ain't gonna hear the person that's actually singing in the real. You're not gonna hear them because everybody is singing.
Yeah, everybody's singing. So I think like that's beautiful. I feel like I didn't like get it when I first came out here. It took me years. I'm just starting to get after 9 years because I came out here on the hip hop tip. I came out here and was automatically absorbed in the hip hop world because I went viral on some hip hop shit when I was living in the States. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to learn Portuguese, and I made a cover of a rap song, and I made a video showing like an American version of that cover, and that shit went dumb viral on YouTube. And so like mad people already knew me, so I was already getting soon I got out here, I knew that I wanted to be with Lena, and she was doing music, and she had her group, and she had her people, and I went and moved into the house with them. Mad people told me not to do that. Especially this one dude out here, he ended up dying during COVID. His name is Yusef. He was trying to really get me to not do that. He's like, yo, I'll let you live in my house. Don't move in a house with no woman. And I'm so glad, like, all of them people, I never listened to them. I'm like, yo, nobody
if you feeling the vibe, bro, like, if you feeling the vibe,
I felt the vibe. I'm like, yo, I'm not letting nobody tell me, because they had a different part in their life where they got more funds to make different decisions. If I'm saying I'm going to get an apartment and live by myself, I could have done that. And life would have been much more stressful, and I would not have learned the language. I would not, and me and Lena wouldn't have worked. And the only reason why, like, I love this country so much right now, and I can't talk about the future, you know what I mean? But it's because I'm with Lena. Because if I was with any other woman, I wouldn't have had the purpose that I'm with her. Like, we got crazy purpose. We built shit together. People know us as Saw, just one. That's our name. You know what I mean? Like, we share. If you notice, like, I'm talking to you, but it's our Instagram. Like, there is no like password that I have that block her out. She has her own Instagram. I have my English Instagram. She has her hair Instagram. But our Instagram,
she dope too, bro. She dope. She dope with it with the dread, bro.
Yeah, nice.
I was like, that's crazy. I've never seen a person, like, my wife does my hair, but like I had to teach her how to do it. Like, I don't really see
you taught her. I taught her because I didn't teach her how to do the designs. You know what I mean? I taught her how to do the palm roll at first, because I didn't like have nobody taking a needle. I didn't have that happen before. So I was like, yo, could you do this? And then she looked at it, and once she started experimenting with new techniques and teaching herself new stuff, I'm like, yo, I think you could like make a business.
You can make some money out of it, yo. Because there'd be so many like teenagers out here. They'd be like, yo, who did your hair?
It wasn't
dread like this.
Exactly.
But there ain't that many people that can actually twist them. A lot of people will know I'm American, or I will know a dude is American because of their dreads.
I know 3 people in Rio. Doing it really well right now. In Sao Paulo, it's at least 5 or 6. Salvador, I know 2. You know, but my wife was number 1, and that's why she blew. There was nobody that knew how to do the barrel twist, the designs.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, though. Like,
she was number 1, all because I've been having my hair like this since 97.
Yo, for real?
97, I started growing my lock. No, 93. I was 7 years old.
That's 93. Crazy.
I started growing my locks in 93, and I've had them ever since. I've seen many phases. You know what I mean? When I came here in 2016, there was not one person that would put the barrel twist designs, and I, after a couple months, was like, baby, I really missed the way my hair used to look. You know what I mean? Because you try to mess with it and try to see what you could do. And then that turned into a good business. There was a time where she was making more money than I was making teaching English.
Damn.
There was a time for that.
Bro, they love dreads out here, dog. Like whenever, my wife, I had the same situation happen with Bass. I was like, babe, I might be asked for a lot because I already just, I'm already asking you to do my hair. Well, actually, no, she chose to do my hair because like, she know I'd be busy as hell. And so like, while I'll be working while she's doing my hair. And like, I was like, babe, can you do can you do barrel twist or can you try? She was like, yeah, I can try. Like, cause she's big into crochet. And so I was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah. Boy, I looked at that shit like 2 times. She's like, oh, I got it. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Damn. What the? I'm over there like, yo. And she mad because she felt like she didn't do a good job. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, how did you just
do it? That's what it is, right?
Yeah. So like, and for dreadheads, like that's part of your identity. Like it's hard to explain, but like I had dreads that were like down here once, and then I cut them for convenience sake because I was busy and I was in politics. I'm like, I gotta cut my hair, but I was immediately depressed. I immediately regret that shit.
It does that,
bruh. I feel like I lost my superpowers, dog. I ain't gonna cap. Like I'm like,
before 2017, you didn't see a lot of people with dreads. You know what did it? Black Panther, yo. But for Brazil, when they saw Black Panther, and everybody just wanted to Killmonger joints. Everybody's asking my wife to do this. And she was like,
oh yeah, bro.
Nah,
bro. I want that style that I still don't know how the hell he did that shit. I need to see how they prepped his hair. But that style that he had in Wakanda Forever, whenever Shuri saw him, when she went to when she drank the purple
second movie,
the second one, yeah.
I don't
the
know.
way he had that shit braided and tied up with bro, that shit, hold on, I gotta see if I can find that because you need to see that shit had me like It was a bunch of weed, we know, but
yeah. That's one thing my wife, she doesn't deal with. She doesn't deal with the weave aspect of the locks. It's all about natural locks. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing, these Afro cultures and how they coincide. And I really like the fact that that's my whole idea of being out here. And just before I go, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. That I'm trying to build something out here. I came out here with nothing, like I said, basically. And finally, I'm starting to come up. And I never changed. I've been trying to get, like, there was a couple of times where I just decided, like, I'm going to get a job, yo. I'm going to try to get an online job making dollars. Because I was just sick of it with the whole English shit. You know what I mean? So I was about to do that. Yo, I'm so glad that I just held on a little bit more because I wouldn't be happy doing it. Even if I made good money. My life would just be working for somebody to make a little bit of money to live. But like I'm really feeling like what I do, even though I make less, because I make really good money if I were Brazilian, you know what I mean? But if I compare myself to any other American that's out here, I make pennies, you know what I mean? But I don't care because I don't compare myself to anybody, you know what I mean? That doesn't have my same reality. And I'm building something here and being a part of this community. I don't divide my time with people in the States. Like I don't have to cancel to call out, you know what I mean? Like that. And so like, all right, can I still finance everything I want to do? Hell yeah. You know what I mean? I'm good now. And so I'm really like appreciative about just being able to steer clear, just stay on a path. You know what I mean?
That's a blessing.
Things get dark, yo. And that's just what I wanted to say to anybody that's thinking about moving. It don't have to be Brazil, but go with a plan, you know what I mean? To make money. Don't be like me. But I was at a point where I wasn't financially stable and I knew I had to leave. If you feel like that, there are ways, you know what I mean? Especially from the States and people want to learn. There is the English route, but you have to you're either going to suffer working for others or you're going to really learn this culture and this language, be a part of it and have something to offer to people that's not just your language, but you as a spectacle, as something that people want to experience. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And then you could turn that into something.
Even though you didn't have a plan, like maybe financially at the time, but you did have like a path you wanted to pursue. And that's what I always tell people. Like when I came here, like it was like I fell in love with Brazil, but like for what I do, my people needed somebody who was willing to learn Portuguese to talk about the just Brazil and its place in the international community, especially the interaction between US and Brazil. So they're like, well, we need somebody who can learn Portuguese in like a couple of years because we want to actually build a studio out there And we need somebody who's going to be able to hire people, communicate, give the news, all that good stuff. I'm like, for real? Like, bro, I had just, when I tell you, oh no, matter of fact, I think I was in Brazil whenever they were having this conversation. It was just, because it was during the election and they were pissed because nobody spoke Portuguese. And this an election in 2022 was crazy, you remember? So like, and now they're like, yo, okay, so like, and you know how it is, like, yeah, you can learn, you can read some stuff about what's going on in English, but like you really need to understand Portuguese.
You really got to understand the language. You got to live it, and the way you're living it is the best way, because if not, you never really like live that shit. And then the words don't translate right if you don't have the live situation. But on that note, yo, I'm gonna head out. Yo, thanks a lot for having me. And it was a dope conversation, man. Is it gonna be recorded? Can I find
for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be recorded. I sent you a link on email. And for everybody who's watching right now, make sure I go to their YouTube pages. Go check them out.
UMSOH. UMSOH. We on YouTube.
Go look them up.
We on everywhere. Go on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, UMSOH, Deezer, whatever platform you use.
I have people that watch that live in São Paulo, and so if y'all out there, they perform all the time. So y'all can actually go see them perform.
Dope. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
And also, if y'all are artists too, link up with us, because the new vibe now is, as I get older and older, I'm less in front of the cameras. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making the songs happen for other people. I'm trying to write a lot of English songs for.
You looking like you're like 29 years old. Like, as I'm getting older.
I'm literally 10 years older than what you're saying. I mean, I'm 38, but I'll be 40. I'll be 40 next year.
That black don't crack, man. I'm trying to tell you, dog.
That's true. It's true. But at the same time, like, I'd rather, like, I've been writing mad songs for other people. My whole goal is to get a Brazilian person that has a look and already the popularity. And I'm starting to meet these people and get them to write the song, sing one of my songs with perfect English. And that's a hit already, because you already got the popularity. You're just crossing over into a different market. That's what I'm trying to supply people. I need to meet more people and more artists. So if you're listening to this and you're an artist or you know somebody, hit us up. It's like, you need a song in English, and we'll work it out how it'll happen.
Y'all heard it. Appreciate you, man. I'll let you go ahead and get up out of here.
All right. See you, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, man, thanks everybody for sticking by. I hope y'all enjoyed that conversation. It's one of my favorite dudes out here, dog. He just has, one of those people who have a very unique experience in Brazil. I know other people who lived out here as well. But like I said, a lot of the people that I know who live out here that are American, they don't speak Portuguese, or like they haven't really lived it. I don't want to say in Brazil, but like they live in like Copacabana or in Rio, like Barra da Tijuca, like basically tourist areas. So like, this is somebody that I like to talk to, because we both are living. Well, our wives are Latino, are Brazilian. Like, we live with members of our wives' family. Like, we have very unique Brazilian experiences as Americans, and as Black Americans, it's even more unique. So I really hope that y'all enjoyed that conversation. Hope that y'all got like a new perspective on a lot of the stuff, that I talk about here in Brazil. Like I said, he does great music. Y'all need to go check out his music. He does great stuff, especially if you go on Instagram. He posts a lot there as well. So I appreciate y'all sticking around. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe. I'm actually going to be posting more. Like I said, y'all requested it, so I'm doing it. I'm posting more about Brazil. I'm going to be posting here pretty soon these interviews that I did. I haven't posted them because I was waiting until I moved so that I can have the time to actually sit down and do the editing and all that good stuff, and post them where I need to be posting them at. Interviews that I've done, some time ago, maybe like a few months ago, and I'm gonna have more people on to talk about their experiences. And there will be some shows that will likely be entirely in Portuguese. So practice, hit your Duolingo up, But definitely want to follow me on Instagram at Real Niko House. I'll be posting the majority of the short clips there, and definitely follow me on Twitter, because I'll be posting a lot of short clips there. But yeah, like I said, especially given how important Brazil has become in an international conversation, and how many people are genuinely considering moving here. I feel like, it's about that time. I'll go ahead and start talking a little bit more about Brazil, because I do have a lot to say. I just don't always say it because There's so much other stuff to talk about a lot of the times. But yeah, with that being said, people, like this video, share this video, leave a comment below, subscribe, help us hit 1 million subscribers, subscribe to my Telegram channel to get news, breaking news, and news about content that I put out. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.